myself again. But it's the only
Good evening and welcome to NUFC Matters Match Day Live. Newcastle United at home to Burnley. 8 o'clock kickoff live on Sky from a very wet St James Park. It has been raining and today. Probably one of those games that I think most of our panel would be glad that they haven't actually been to, because you would have been absolutely soaking wet. And I genuinely don't think we're going to get a feast of football today. But we'll speak to the lads and see what they feel. Andre, welcome to the show. God, Burnley at home. It doesn't exactly set the pulse racing, does it?
Hey, hello everyone. Cheers to the Total Toon community around the world. Yeah, the expectations are for a repeat of the last home game. And actually, if you all remember, it was the last home game with the crowd in the stadium, and I was lucky enough to be there. And at the time, none of us knew at the time that this is the last game that we'll be able to attend at St. James's Park for many months to come. So probably everyone expects same dire game as in February. I have a sneaky feeling that it might be the opposite. It might be a game full of goals. Like we talked in the previous shows, that after the restart, basically there are many goals in all the games. Like the teams play much more open. But honestly, I didn't know about the weather update. I didn't know that the weather in Newcastle, it's so rainy. This can change the game totally. But still, I expect an open game, and I think that after the last several performances by the Toon, I really hope they give us a good game. And honestly, I expect a win today. I'm very optimistic.
I'm afraid once I've seen that team, Andre, I agreed with you up to the point where you said I expect a win today. When I realised that Kraft and Shelvey and Joe Linton were all in the starting lineup. Now, Joe Linton I might be a little harsh on, and of course, we're still in the middle of those 10 games, which I did give him. And so far, the last couple of games he's played well, albeit one of them against Morecambe. The sight of Kraft in that back four fills me with dread. I've got to be perfectly honest. The sight of Shelvey in there comes as no surprise in the fact that he's the only one who has backed Bruce up in this alleged dressing room bust up, which has been doing the rounds on the usual social media outlets today. But seeing Shelvey in there depresses me, because I don't think he's performed well enough to even deserve a place in the team. Joe Linton, of course, as I say, has played slightly better. The delightful thing about that team, of course, is St. Maximin's back. So that is good news. Almiron, not in the squad. Well, is he in the squad? He's not in the team. Sorry.
Yeah, he's on the bench.
He's on the bench. I feel like he's been hung out to dry a little bit. I think he's been a victim of the tactics rather than a victim of his performances. He's been asked to do jobs which he's not used to, and therefore hasn't looked the player that we all know he can be. Yeah. So I think he's been bruised as well. But so there's a starting lineup: Darlow, Kraft, Fernandez. It's a return to the starting lineup for Shaw. Lewis is in there as well. Hayden, Shelvey, Hendrick, Joe Linton, Wilson, St. Maximin. Wow, let's see how this...
I'm very happy that Cherry's back in the team. Honestly, I know that he didn't play well last season, but I know most of us like him, and actually under Rafa, he was arguably our best player in 18-19 season. I really want him to kind of restart his career back in Newcastle, and I'm happy that Bruce gives him a chance, because honestly, I thought that Bruce doesn't quite fancy him, and I'm glad that he gives him the nod today.
Genuinely, I'm pleased to see Shaw back in the team. If it's the Shaw that we all knew could play under Rafa, the Shaw we've seen under Steve Bruce, of course, has been absolutely useless. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. Listen, I'm going to go to Daz next. Daz is usually very positive about Newcastle United's chances. I'm not sure whether things will change after what he saw midweek, but Daz, over to you, mate.
Yeah, no, I'm kind of going with Andre with the positivity for a change. But I agree with you on the team. At least Kraft isn't at centre back. He's playing in his more natural position at right back. Shelvey, well, we all knew he was going to start today. That wasn't going to change. But I've decided today. I sat down and thought about it, and I said, I'm giving him a clean slate. Like you've done with Joe Linton, I'm giving Shelvey a clean slate. So however many minutes that lasts, I don't know. But I'm going to give him a chance again. And yeah, look, I'm kind of happy to see Joe Linton in there as well. I'm obviously happy to see St. Max because he's going to supply the magic for us. But Joe Linton, yeah, I would have put him ahead of Almiron just to kind of mix it up a bit. Like, it's going to be physical this game. It's Burnley are all about 4-4-2. So yeah, I'm still going to stick with the win. It'll be I'll leave my predictions till later and then score.
Okay, yeah. I mean, a lot of people asking where Almiron is. It's unfortunate. He's been the man to take the drop. A lot of us feeling that Shelvey shouldn't be in the team tonight, but who knows what goes through Steve Bruce's mind. A few people asking me, what is the fallout? Well, there's been an allegation doing the rounds that there's been a bit of a fallout between Bruce and the players. Whether that's true or not, only Bruce and the players know. But seeing Shelvey come out and being quite defensive of the gaffer this week is not, I would say, plays into the stories that there is something in it. The outburst we saw at the press conference didn't happen, for no reason. With Bruce obviously laying into the press and saying, I don't understand what all this is about with regards to tactics. Certainly something is going on. As always, we are kept in the dark as supporters. These things tend to stay in the dressing room and not get out unless there's a leak. If I was a detective, I would maybe even link this to the departing medical staff. I think there's been a lot of leaks coming out of the club over the years. There's always been a club mole. No one's ever been able to find out who that is. It's only an allegation. Is that the reason they've gone? We've not been told. We're left to guess and second guess with Newcastle United every time. As I say, it's just a thought. It's not what I'm saying as fact. But I'll leave that to you to think out. You start putting the pieces together, it all starts to make sense. Things come out at a later date, and then the truth comes out. But it's very interesting times at Newcastle at the minute, that's for certain. Martin, Burnley at home, it's absolutely bucketing down here. That's going to play its part, I would imagine, in today's game. But looking forward to the game, Martin.
Yes and no, in a weird kind of way. Lineup, didn't expect Kraft to be in. From obviously from the midweek game, I thought he'd taken a knock. Shaw, okay, he was a different player. I hope it's the Shaw that played against Burnley that turns up and scored that rasper, rather than the Shaw of the back end of last season. Shelvey, I said my comments midweek. I'm not been happy with him for a long time. I think obviously with what's gone on over the last couple of days and a bit of noise from Bruce and a bit of backup from Shelvey, obviously did no harm because Shelvey's been made captain tonight, which is for me completely wrong decision. But I'll give. I went with I said draw midweek. I thought it'd be 1-1 tonight, and I'm gonna stick with that. Although I did kind of slightly hedge me bets and put the draw on earlier on with Woods and Joe Linton to score. So we'll see whether probably waste of money, but anyway, we'll see where we get to. But yeah, odd lineup. I think we're in for a tough night. Rain's not going to help. Look, pot shots. No, I'm back end of the City game here. Guys are firing out from 20 yards out and skimming off the deck. So look, we've got to get the shots on target. Daz is back on tonight, so that's got to be a good thing. He needs to see a few more. So let's hope we can get a few more on target, especially for Daz, and one of them pings into the net. So yeah, game on.
Okay, Newcastle United home to Burnley tonight, 8 o'clock kick-off on Sky. Currently, Leeds United and Man City are held at 1 apiece with about 8 minutes left plus stoppage time. We'll keep an eye on that scoreline for you. Chris, Newcastle versus Burnley, it's not often a fixture that produces a feast of football. Is that going to change tonight?
Mute, Chris.
In this game would be Hendricks facing his own squad, but I don't see him figuring in this lineup. So who knows? This lineup really is underwhelming for me. I am a fan of Almiron, and I just don't quite see what Steve Bruce is trying to do in this lineup, and hopefully the result is better than the sum of its parts. But I'm really disappointed in this lineup.
Pete. It's not an inspiring lineup, but Steve Bruce's teams tend to have a knack of either producing the unexpected result or getting hammered. I don't think there's ever an in-between. What are you expecting tonight?
I don't know what to expect, if I'm being honest with you. And I think that's the modern Newcastle, certainly in the last year, is that you just don't know what type of performances you're going to get from the team. Nobody would have expected us to play the way we did and restart against Bournemouth. Nobody was expecting us to come out and play the way we did against West Ham. But equally, nobody expected us to come out and play the way we did against Brighton. So you have no idea what's going to... I don't even want to guess in terms of what type of performance we're going to get. The things that stick out for me is obviously Shaw coming back in the team. You know, he should... It's not a reward for him coming back in the team. Let's be honest, there's nobody else. And that's the reason why he's playing. He's not playing because, you know, he's been picked and he's been amazing. It's not. So it is what it is. I think he's going to have a tough time against Wood. It wouldn't surprise me if Wood's a smart striker, which he is. He's going to put himself across Shaw and make him play against him for every ball in the air, which is going to be, you know, like David and Goliath, really. But it looks like they've set up in a 4-3-3. So they'll have the three, Shelvey, Hayden and Hendricks in the centre of midfield. And then a little bit like West Ham in transition, they'll maybe change it into a 4, and that will have the St. Maximin and Joelinton supporting Wilson. I just want Wilson to get service tonight. He needs service. If we want to be getting him the goals that he should be getting, he needs that service. I'm just not convinced that Joelinton's the one that's going to provide it for him. You know, I would have much rather have seen someone with a bit of pace, a bit of trickery, a bit of quality on the ball from either Fraser or Almiron starting. So that's a bit of a shame, but hopefully those boys can come on in the second half and make the difference. So going back to my original point, I have no idea what to expect. I always say the first 10 minutes gives me an idea of how the game's going to plan out, and let's see.
The last 4 games at St James's Park, Newcastle against Burnley, have produced 3 draws. 2014-2015 season, we had a 3-3 draw with Taylor, Colback and Sissoko scoring. 2018 season, 2017-18 season, we had a 1-1 draw with Lascelles scoring. We won the next year with Shaw and Longstaff on the score sheet. Last season was a 0-0 draw. Nathan, what are you expecting tonight?
Yeah, it's obviously living in Burnley. It's one of the sort of fixtures that I've seen probably more of in terms of like Newcastle who they played against. And yeah, like you said, it's never been a feast of football. It's never one that sort of sets the world alight, is it? But we've got the opportunity to watch it because all the games are televised at the moment. So I doubt it would have been picked usually. But yeah, I think it's going to be a bit of a drab affair. I think the weather will play into it. The weather suits them a lot more than it suits us, I'd say. They're going to look to knock it up to Rodriguez and to Wood, and I think they'll probably get quite a lot of joy with that against Shaw and not so much Fernandez, but I think Shaw might struggle in that physical battle today. Certainly, I think Chris Wood he makes anyone struggle, whoever's up against him in terms of whoever he's playing against at centre half. So it might be a difficult evening for those two at the back. I feel like the lads have said, like Kraft being in the team, it fills me with a bit of dread, really, especially when Mankio's on the bench. So you've got to think as Mankio picked up a bit of a knock from the midweek game, and he's not quite 100%. Undroppable Shelvey's back in the team again, as you've alluded to. The spat midweek. We tend to see that, don't we? Every couple of weeks, Bruce will kind of lash out at the media, and he'll have a bit of a pop at the media after weeks of them saying things about him. I think it was the end of last season as well, where he said the same. So it's unsurprising. I think it's showing that it gets to him a little bit. I think it just shows how kind of weird the season's been, that we're in a position where we're quite glad to have Joelinton back in the team. I know Pete wasn't that bothered about it, but I'm quite glad that he's starting tonight, because I thought he was fantastic when he came on midweek, albeit against Newport County. I thought he was very productive on the ball, and I thought he did quite well. So whether he's going to supply the bullets for Callum Wilson, like Pete said, I'm not so sure. But I did think that Fraser wasn't fantastic midweek. I wasn't very. He's been kind of hit and miss to be. He's been like his first game he came onto the scene, he was fantastic. But then since then, I've not been too taken aback by him. So yeah, what we've seen is Callum Wilson be isolated all in every game so far this season, apart from the West Ham game. So it'd be interesting to see how we can bring him into play. And I think I say that every week. I think I say that every game. The forwards are looking isolated, but they seem to remain that way, and nothing ever seems to change. So.
Yeah, a lot of people commenting tonight. Donald Bain says it's going to be a real physical battle today. Dom, welcome back to the show. Is it going to be a real physical battle?
Oh, of course it is. We all know the way that Sean Dyche sets up. It's always physical. So we need to be on our toes and be clever about our play. And unfortunately, what I've seen so far, it ain't clever.
No, definitely not. It's for me. I'm disappointed in the lineup. I think Bruce has bottled it. I think given Shelby the captaincy, as Nathan has just said, is a strange move. But it's what happened. Where's Lascelles? I know there was talk of him and Kraft not being available today. Where's Lascelles? What is the injury? If anybody knows, please let us know. Al Walid, your view, please, on tonight's starting lineup.
First of all, it's an important game. Next time, I think we'll play Man United, Wolverhampton, Everton. We must have this game. We are leaking points. On paper, the lineup. Let's start from the front. He preferred Wilton and St. Maximin over Almiron and Fraser. So that's mean maybe Mr. Steve Bruce prefer skillful player more than speed. The point is how Wilton and ACM will play together. Are they gonna far from each other? Are they gonna far from Wilson? This is the trick. Regarding center midfielder, the three players, it's obvious. Mr. Steve, they are. He trusts this line. He can't play without these three. They covering the lack on the defense, especially with Jamal Lascelles is away. Manquillo as well. I'm not sure why he's not playing. I'm not sure. Maybe he's injured or something. I don't know. And he will keep Carroll. He will keep Carroll for as we expected for last 15 minutes if things not going well. Also, same thing with Almiron and Fraser if he wants speed or just fresh the lineup.
Ben Crowther going for a rather optimistic 7-0. God, I would love to think you were right, mate. Donald Baines says, can Al Walid send some Starbucks this way to warm us all up? I can see the light is on. Starbucks light is on tonight. It must be open. Zach, thanks for that. He says a hamstring is what Lascelles has. That's what he thinks anyway. And Dale Hurst asking about the Theo Walcott transfer. Lee Ryder has tweeted in the last half hour that the club have said that there's been no approach for Theo Walcott. So that puts that one to rest. Andre, Burnley obviously have got a couple of players back tonight. And Chris Wood, he's going to be a threat. Newcastle could have had Chris Wood a couple of seasons ago. He was available in the transfer window, but opted to go to Burnley. Newcastle couldn't bring him in because they didn't have the money to spend. He's going to be a threat today, isn't he?
Yeah, very physical player, as the lad said, and he's a handful. And also Ashley Barnes next to him. Both of them are very good, and I hope that the fact that they missed several games, and actually Burnley had a lot of issues with injuries in the first 3 games of the season, and this is why probably they don't have a point up until now. But when their first 11 is back, they're a pretty solid team. And I also like Dwight McNeil. I think he was one of the best wingers last year in the Premier League. So these three are the real threat tonight. And and Cher being back and lacking much fitness and not being that type of a physical player as the guys mentioned, he's in for a tough 90 minutes against Wood. But still, as I mentioned, it's so far Newcastle with the 4 home games towards the end of last season and the game against Brighton, it's already 5 home games in a row without a win, which I think even for Newcastle standards is too long of a bad run, and I think it's high time that it ended today. So that's why I'm an optimist, and I really hope that the games against Brighton, Tottenham, and Newport were really bad. Like they were so bad that I cannot imagine they're capable of playing worse than what they did in the past 3 games. So I really expect a rebound today. I really think that also Brooks might be after them in the changing room, as you mentioned, and I expect a reaction from the team. And this is why I'm positive. But definitely Burnley, Wood, Barnes, and McNeil are the ones to watch.
Congratulations to Leeds United, a fantastic point at home to Manchester City, who really haven't got out of second gear over the last couple of games. Something certainly not right at Manchester City, and the players come off drenched. But yeah, 1-1, fantastic result for Leeds. They just continue to be the surprise team this season. Daz, Burnley do carry a threat. Andre has mentioned Ashley Barnes. He makes a return to their starting lineup tonight. Is it something that you're concerned about?
Yeah, I'd be more concerned about Chris Wood, to tell you the truth. He's one of the ones that we identified in an earlier show back when we all started against this. That it was one that we would have liked to have seen in the squad to come join Newcastle. We even kind of pictured him as a kind of a Shearer type kind of a player, physical and puts himself about and can get on the end of a ball. And the guy that Andre mentioned as well, Dwight McNeil, he's an impressive player. So he usually performs well. It's going to be a physical battle. On a wet night, we'll see what happens, really, I guess.
Yeah, Al Walid, it's an interesting lineup for Newcastle. Can you predict what the formation is going to be out of that? We've had a little bit of chat in the private chat where we're again. Is it 4-4-2? Is it 4-5-1? What do you think?
It's 4-3-2-1.
You think it's 4-3-2-1?
4-3-2-1, and I noticed Hendrik. He's become a little in the right. He have some Shelby and Hayden more defense like, and he will help. But Hendrik, he will help more Wilton and St. Max.
Okay, Martin. Your view on the tactics tonight from Steve Bruce. I've seen you in the private chat talking about the formation. What's your view on tonight's lineup?
Yeah, it looks like 4-3-3, but I suppose he could push it back to 4-5-1 with a couple of changes. He could bring, obviously, from the bench. He can bring Longstaff on, so he can change it around a bit. I think the other thing, I was slightly surprised. I didn't think Murphy really done anything hard over the last 2 games to get dropped, so I'm surprised he's not in there. He's obviously trying to combat Burnley's middle of the pitch. I think Woods, we always seem to struggle against, 89th minute equaliser last time round, I think it was. But I like Barnes. I like the lad Barnes they have playing for them. I think he's a quality finisher. So I think he'll start. It looks like he's going to start it off 4-3-3. Maybe Joe Linton left, Wilson, and then ASM on the right. Maybe Joe Linton will pull in a bit. He can push Hendrik further out to the left, but I thought Wilson and Joe Linton linked up a couple of times against Newport there the other night, and I thought that looked. I said today on Twitter, hopefully it would be nice to see something develop between the two. I think for Wilson to get the bit of support, but maybe just with the experience of Wilson to maybe help bring Joe Linton on a little bit. And within about 30 seconds, I got about 20 tweets kind of lambasting it, going, Joe Linton's a joke, this, that, and the other, but. Similar to yourself, I think, look, we've got to give him a little bit of time, give him the 10 games. I thought he did okay the last 2 games, so hopefully, let's see, can he put himself about a bit tonight? But looks like 4-3-3 with an option to go 4-5-1 again.
Okay, Dom, Burnley coming with 0 points on the board, so I suppose we should be, a little bit more optimistic than I'm being, but, they have got a threat in Chris Wood, haven't they?
Yeah, of course. We all know his threat up front. But at the same time, I think they're disjointed in the last few games. But what we need to be looking at here is from a Burnley team is to get the 3 points. And if we don't, then I will feel dejected and possibly... really down about it, but at the same time, a draw would be good, but we should be getting 3 points from that set of fixtures. I mean, even against Brighton, we should have gotten 3 points. But I mean, Steve Bruce. I mean, in the first game against West Ham, he come out and productively brought out a team who could attack and put the players under pressure. But then we've seemed to have rolled back and decided we're playing so defensive. You know, we can't get forward. And I'd hope today 3 points. And I think I did send out a tweet. I thought it was Arsenal next, but it's not. It's Man U. I think 4 points should be the what you call it, the
target.
The target for these two games, and I think that will be a very good month so far.
Okay, thanks, Dom. Chris, the substitutes just named there as well on Twitter, so I've just stuck them up. People asking who's on the bench: Gillespie, Manquillo, Sean Longstaff, Fraser, Murphy, Almiron, and Carroll. So plenty to choose from on the bench, and plenty to change if need be, Chris.
Yeah, I mean, I think like some other people have said, there's some options on the bench for to inject some late pace into the game, except for Andy Carroll. But I'm still kind of confused about this line, and interested to see what the formation is. But you know, Steve Bruce doesn't usually use his substitutions very well. This would be one match where hopefully he does. He never seems to make any adjustments at halftime. We wanted adjustments last match at halftime, and you know, stuck to the same lineup for the second half. So I want to see Steve Bruce. You know, he's not going to change his strikes, but I want to see him be more flexible and be able to adjust. If things aren't working, don't stick with the same game plan. If he has a game plan, I want to see. You know, maybe it's like a personality transplant, but he needs to be able to adjust and improve things, if not at halftime, you know, later in the game. We'll see.
Pete, Barry Hogan says you look fed up to the back teeth before we even kick off. Is that just your natural demeanour?
To be honest, it's nerves more than anything. This is how I am before kickoff. It's weird. Like, what, we're 3-4 games into the season, but under this regime, under this owner, this is how it is. It's like, how quickly can you get to 40 points? And in my mind, I'm thinking we have to win this game. We have to win this game because, you know, 7 points after 3 or 4 games is not as bad as looking at 4 points and, you know, only a loss and a few wins in other games can plummet you down the league very, very quickly. Whereas we could be potentially sitting, you know, top 7, top 8 with a few points of a gap already early on in the season. And, you know, someone like Burnley is a team that potentially we could be scrapping with at the end of the season. So getting a win against these type of teams is something that we didn't always do last season and the season before. So this is our perfect opportunity to get these wins. We're not always going to get the wins over the Tottenhams and the Man U's and the Chelseas and the whoever's. You know, that all depends on how the game lies. But these teams are teams that we should be getting results against. So that's why I am the way I am in the build-up to the game. Because one, I don't know what to expect from this team and what type of performance we're going to get into. We need as many points as we possibly can get as quickly as possible.
Yeah, good stuff. Stephen Roach says we seem to be scared of everyone we play. Barry Hogan just says regardless of how crap the football is, it's worth watching the game with you guys. Thanks very much, Barry. Nathan, still trying to work out the formation. Somebody suggested in the comments there that Joe Linton, I think it was Chris Hall, said Joe Linton could be playing the number 10 role, but of course we're not really going to grasp what the tactics are until they hit the pitch. But what do you make of that lineup and the formation?
Yeah, I think it'd be interesting to see Joe Linton in that role behind just behind the forward, because like we've talked about, he's obviously not a centre forward. There's been talk of him being, a wide player left of a front three. To me, he doesn't really have the attributes to be able to pull that off in the Premier League, where you need sort of Pearson to be able to beat a man, or like a trick up your sleeve, and he doesn't seem to have that. But what we did see last week and during the week and last weekend was that he moved the ball about quite well at times, and he got himself into some good positions. And when he plays up front, he kind of drifts back anyway, so we can do without him being that far up the pitch, because that leaves us with no one up there basically. So yeah, I think it's going to be interesting to see how we set up. I'm very pleased that we've got St. Maximin back. But then if we've talked about that 4, because I'm seeing pictures of it now, like a 4-2, the 3, and then the 1 up front. But in that 3, we've got St. Maximin, Joe Linton in the middle, and then it looks like Hendricks shoved on the right hand side. But if Hendricks on that right hand side, then why not play Almer on there? Like that's a more natural position for him. That's someone who can run at these fullbacks and make something happen. But we're not going to see that from Hendrick. We'll see Hendrick we'll see Hendrick rotate back into the centre, and I think that's what might happen. I think he might drop back in to the centre, and then like Joelinton might end up drifting out wide more. Because I can't see Hendrick, bombing down that wing. He doesn't do that, and that's not his game at all.
Yes, Eddie Bates says, if you lads work out the formation, can you ring Steve Bruce and let him know? Steve Bruce is under the cosh, Andre. I'm not sure whether you've seen the media reports. Obviously, you're out there in Bulgaria, but the press conference yesterday was rather embarrassing. I thought, for Steve Bruce. He came out, he was quite strong against the media for their views on his on his tactics, and he was very defensive about what he was trying to do at the football club. His programme notes have come out with a similar kind of rhetoric today. But when you're reading the comments tonight that were putting on the screen, when you're reading the stuff on social media, a lot of fans who were supportive of Steve Bruce last season are against him now. And, he has to count his lucky stars, really, that the fans aren't allowed in the ground at the minute, because the way that the fans react when a manager doesn't live up to the fans' expectations is, they get on his back. We saw it with Sam Allardyce. We saw it with Joe Kinnear under Mike Ashley. It's under pressure. He's under pressure, Steve Bruce, isn't he? Would you say that he did the right thing coming out and speaking out yesterday?
I don't see how a manager turning up on the fence is the right thing to do. Basically, when you turn up against the fence, you better have the result on your side. And basically, yesterday he went out and he said, why do you criticize me? You guys don't know anything about football, basically. And I think he's very lucky right now that there's no crowd in the stadium, because if there was crowd, and with the performances in the past few weeks, it could have gone pretty bad today if the game doesn't go as we all want. And I think that Bruce is really cracking under the pressure, because yesterday was really, really strange that he basically went against his own fans. And probably he did that knowing that they're not in the stadium today and he's kind of safe and he can do this. But you can tell that he's cracking under the pressure. And you know what? I think that the game that just finished, the Leeds-Man City game, it really showed the difference between what Leeds have right now, Marcelo Bielsa, a world-class manager, and their squad. I don't think that the Leeds United squad is better than Newcastle United squad, but in Bielsa they have a guy who's like really the role model for people like Klopp and Guardiola. He's a manager who hasn't achieved a lot of titles, but because he's a football fanatic and he's very much into tactics, and he's a guy who watches football, I've heard, like 20 hours per day, you can see that this guy does miracles, and after 4 games in the season, we know that Leeds will stay, Leeds United. And Bruce, you can see the difference between Steve Bruce and Marcelo Bielsa, and Bruce is feeling it, and he's a bit out of his depth, and now he was backed by Ashley in the transfer window. And he was back last year, although we talked many times that last year's transfers were not his transfers. But I think that now the pressure is on him. And tough times for Bruce. If something doesn't change, if the results don't improve drastically and the style of play doesn't improve, and with the easy draw for the League Cup, or I don't want to call it easy, but at least it was one of the, let's say, more acceptable draws, Brentford away for the quarterfinal, I think that the pressure is really on Steve Bruce now.
Yeah, my big concern is who on earth Newcastle United would get in his place if he left. I mean, unfortunately for Newcastle, they found themselves in the rather embarrassing situation of not being able to get a manager once they got rid of Steve Bruce. And in fact, if the rumours are to be believed, Steve Bruce approached the club and he was 11th choice. 11th choice. What does that tell you about life under Mike Ashley for our football club? It's embarrassing, and that would be the big worry, Andre.
Yeah, exactly. And I remember also Sam Allardyce turning the job down. Imagine it's like Sam Allardyce was asked to come back, and you mentioned how he was received and perceived by the fans in Newcastle. Yeah, I agree fully. Yeah, if Bruce goes, we can only imagine who can come in his place. We know that the available people are the likes of Tony Pulis, Mark Hughes, and Joe Kinnear. I heard that he doesn't have a job right now.
Yeah, Eddie Howe as well gets thrown in the mix. Steve Bruce came out, had a go at the media yesterday. Did he do the right thing?
No. But I saw an interesting tweet actually where it was I know I'm paraphrasing here, but it was where Bruce was asking the reporters to tell the fans what we're trying to do. Basically saying that the fans don't have a clue, and then it was as they like to compare Mr. Bruce with Rafa. It was Rafa's quote was, "These fans are intelligent. They know about their football. They know their stuff." So it's just, yeah, who's going to get the fans on their side? Who's going to be who the fans going to be when they do return to the ground? Who are they going to be cheering for? They're going to be cheering. Even Rafa is long gone. They'll still be cheering for. We will still be cheering for Rafa. But yeah, Bruce isn't doing himself any favors. But we are stuck with them. I really can't see even if we're allowed into the ground, Ashley isn't going to change anytime soon. It's only till we get to Christmas, and if we are in danger and his asset is in danger of diminishing and just there's a chance of relegation. That's the only reason only time he will change. So yeah, we'll continue to call for him, but I hope it gets better, of course. But it's not going to happen, I don't think.
Yeah, I mean it was absolutely bizarre. Al-Walid, did you see the press conference? Did you read about it? I know we did the show last night on LW Newcastle, but what did you make of it? Reading the press conference.
He tried to put some pressure, and I noticed that he was angry about interfering and question his tactics. But for me, Steve, now he's like, it seemed to me, he's extra careful. He's trying to hold the stick from the center with his choices and depend mostly on the individual solution of the players. Depend on luck or any mistake happened during the game. But unfortunately, the mistake or the defense line usually make him fall. I wish if there is just need. I wish if there is more focus on the tactics plan, because it seemed to me sometimes in the difficult situation in the game, I see the biggest or the big names on the team. They are lost, kind of lost. They just continue playing until something happens.
Yeah, Martin, Steve Bruce's comments yesterday, obviously, reading different reports is always very interesting. If you read the Chronicles report, I felt that the Chronicles report was quite watered down, and it was written in a particular way. If you read Craig Hope's report in the Daily Mail, and obviously went with the headline that they went with online, it obviously said that Bruce was angry. And some of the comments which were omitted from the Chronicles report gave me that impression that it had been tried to be like watered down. I mean, just to read some of the comments here, just in case any of you lads haven't heard it. And this is from Craig Hope's report. He wrote, "Since I've walked through the door, I said we will try to change. It's been levelled at me. There's no direction, but I've played the same formation in 5 of the last 6 games. We're trying to change a team that sits deep in a back 5 to a forward-thinking back 4 with 2 up top and a bit of pace in the wide areas. How long will it take? I'm not too sure. I don't think we were ready for it last year, but I can't understand what the raging debate is. Let's not dissect it the way we are. I find it baffling. I really do. look, we haven't played well enough. I'll grant you that. We haven't played with enough intensity and we've given the ball away cheaply. But if you've watched us, what do you not understand in what we're trying to do? All of a sudden now it's a raging debate. Watch the debate. There it is. That's what we're trying to achieve. The reporters then pointed out that supporters can see the formation, but that the criticism is aimed more at the style. So then Bruce said, the style's a concern. So all of a sudden we have to think, well, Liverpool, do we? The style is we're going from back 5 to back 4 with one off the front. And then he said, we were stylish against Morecambe and West Ham. We had 27 attempts against Newport. That's what we're trying to achieve. I think that would be pretty obvious if you were balanced about it. And then he went on to say, all this stuff about tactics and no direction, I don't feel that it's balanced or right. Unbelievable, really. I felt when I read that. And I mean, that, the Chronicle didn't report it like that. That was Craig Hope's report. Does Craig Hope have an agenda, Martin? I don't know. But that is exactly what he said. It's word for word. It's in quotations. That is obviously what he said. What do you make of that?
Yeah, I read Craig's. I didn't read the Chronicle one, to be fair. Does Craig Hope have an agenda? I think every set of journalists has their own agenda. But I think from everything I've read from him pre and post, I think he's quite fair. He tells it as it is. I think Bruce bit. I think it got to him. I think he's lost it slightly. I made a comment the midweek game, and I think between myself and Chris Hall, who's not on tonight, we kind of tweeted during the week, and I said, I wonder, has he lost some of the dressing room? I just wonder, is he starting to lose some of the more senior players, maybe except your Shelby's? Is there a bit of dissension in the ranks? Are players not playing for him? And it would start to me, it's starting to look a bit like that. I think his comments were stupid. I think if we did have, 52,500 in St. James's tonight, I think they'd be gunning for him after the comments from the press conferences. So I think he's a lucky man, not only to hold the post, but I think he's a lucky man that there isn't 52,500 baying for his blood tonight. I don't think, we've done these shows now for the last 3-4 weeks, and we say the same thing every night, which is we wait for the pitch to come on the team before we know what the tactics and the formation is. So if there's 8 of us sitting there, 9 of us sitting there doing that on a match day, what are the other fans doing? Surely it's the same thing. So I think I take Daz's point. I think Ashley will only change, if there's A, a sale, or B, his asset is drifting in the wind. But again, I look at this fixture. For me, the worry is we got a week's break or so. And then, in my opinion, we've got 5 tough fixtures. Everton are flying. We've got United. I think Southampton. None of those are going to be easy games. And I think, again, I tweeted out yesterday and I said, could be 6 games, no points. Could be. So what's the next stage when the pressure is even further on him? We might get 3 tonight, but I tell you what, the next 5 are tough.
Looking back at the last fixtures of the back end of last season as well, Martin, that's, you add that on, it's a horrendous run, really.
It is. We made comment there, Steve, a few weeks back, and I think we said at the time it was 4 wins or 5 wins out of 29 or 23. I think obviously Andre's probably going to correct me here now, but that run has continued. Okay, he can quote formation, he can quote change. The only game so far that we've played with any form of credibility, in my opinion, has been West Ham so far this season. We were okay against Morecambe. You would have expected that. Although, Bruce went into the press conference saying it's tough and I hope we can get something. You want to be going out there. I want to see Bruce be going out there and going, we're going to go out there tonight. I've picked a real fast-paced team. We're going to go at them. We're going for the 3 points. We're going for the jugular. All this nonsense of I hope we can get something and Burnley are a quality team. And I don't want to hear that nonsense from him. I don't want to hear it. So I think he's done himself no favors and he's just lucky. He's probably got, 8 or 9 of us sat here tonight will be baying for his blood if things go wrong. He's a lucky lad. He's not got 52,500 in there tonight beside him, I tell you.
Dom, over to you, mate, and just want to ask about, Bruce, as I've asked the other lads. What's your take on Steve Bruce's outburst yesterday? I want to point to the fact as well, the Newport game with the penalties. If you look back on that game, when it came to the penalties, Steve Bruce wasn't on the pitch talking to the players. It was Steve Agnew. Steve Agnew had the players, and he was having to literally pull them in to see who was going to actually take a spot kick. Whilst the Newport players were all in a huddle, they knew their jobs, they knew what was going on. Steve Bruce was doing what he was doing throughout the game, standing talking to himself on the sidelines. For me again, he's now starting to show what he's all about as a manager, and I just think, as Martin says, I think he bit yesterday.
Yeah. I mean, you look at. I praised the performance against Morgan because it seemed to me it was total football. It was passing about, it was keeping on the floor. But then you look at the Newport performance, and there was nothing to it at all. And we should have been playing the same way, no matter who was on the pitch. We should be playing the same way. We've got like you just said, Steve. We've got the pace to be beaten, and many defenses on well, not on the planet, but in the Premier League. But you just can't play always lump ball because you just get battered away every week, every time, and it just can't happen. And Steve Bruce, he looks clueless, and his media talks is a detriment to that because he just hasn't got a clue. And when you're saying this is this and this is that and I'm not happy about this, then you should be showing this on the pitch rather than standing there in front of the media and saying, well, we're trying to do this. I mean, I'm sure at some point he says Benitez is the problem because he played in that way and to playing to micromanagement, which obviously Bruce can't do. But you've got to put your own stamp on it. If you want to be taken seriously as a manager, you've got to put your own stamp on it, and it's simple as that.
Chris, what did you make of Brucey's rant yesterday?
He's a Tiger's not going to change his stripes. He is who he is, and I just see him as Mike Ashley's ideal sort of finish 17th and call it a successful year type manager. And I do have to wonder, like others have said, whether he's lost the locker room and whether there are factions against him and his lack of tactics or sort of inspiring. I just always wonder, like, if they're down at halftime and they go into the locker room, does he just kind of do his own thing and kind of twiddle his thumbs? Like, I can't imagine him like rousing the troops and inspiring them to go out and change things in the second half. It's just kind of he wants to be liked rather than like respected because he knows his record is mixed and he's never going to be. It's the thing we said at the beginning of the year. The people who were saying, "Oh, you should be happy with Steve Bruce." With any of the top 6 clubs or any of the top 10 clubs, trade him. Trade managers. No one else in the Premier League would have him as a manager, and we were expected to be like grateful that a hometown guy is coming home and sticks by us and takes the job when 10 other people wouldn't take the job. So there's no alternative to Bruce, and we're stuck with him. But I don't expect anything from him.
Mike Jen says, one question, lads, where have all the people gone who were telling us Bruce is doing better than Rafa? Well, that was just last year's thing, wasn't it? We've moved on from that now, of course. Steve Bruce with 10 minutes to go is now in front of the Sky Sports camera, and it's nights like this where I'm glad we're doing the show and I can't hear what he's saying. Pete, what was your take on Bruce's outburst yesterday?
The main thing I took away from his presser is that the cracks are starting to begin to show, and I don't know any details. Obviously, I've heard from myself tonight, Steve, about potential issues with the players behind the scenes. It wouldn't surprise me at all. Bruce is under pressure right now, and I've said it before. He has now been given tools to do the job. You know, you're looking at Ryan Fraser, Miguel Almiron, Manquillo, all sitting on the bench. You know, when have we had an options on the bench like that? How long ago was it that we had these options? Rafa Benitez didn't have these options. He had a bare 11 to play with, and he still got us the results time and time again under worse conditions. That he is under pressure. I'm not being funny, but Mike Ashley is not going to be putting millions and millions of pounds into this court case if, you know, and just allowing Bruce to plummet us into the Championship. You know, so he's under massive pressure, and if we start to lose results and we start to lose games and we look like a team that's going to be, you know, falling apart, he's got a big decision to make, and Steve Bruce knows that. But going back to Steve Bruce, you know, he doesn't give us anything. He doesn't give us anything tactically. You know, you made the point about him talking to himself on the sidelines, which made me laugh because I honestly think exactly the same. He's not talking to anyone on the pitch. There's no tactical awareness. There's no tactical instructions from him to the players. He's literally talking to himself. So I was not surprised whatsoever that the assistants organised the penalty shootouts, because in my opinion, he just hasn't got a clue. He is just a manager. He is a manager from 20 years ago. You could get away with that 20 years ago with just putting an arm around the player and saying, you know, come on, I believe in you. You can do this. And he might have got a little bit out of John Joe Shelby last season on the back of that. But in the modern day manager, you need a lot more. You need tactical awareness. You need to be able to change and transition during the game. Something that, you know, not all managers have been able to do over the years. Bruce certainly has not got that ability at all. You know, we've talked about it before, that Steve Bruce has openly talked about the fact that he doesn't use tactics. That says a lot. And I think it says a lot in terms of how, you know, we've been playing recently. I look at the likes of St. Maximin, I look at the likes of Fraser and Wilson and Miguel Almiron that have all played in tactically well-drilled teams. And they're coming to us and they must be thinking, what the hell is going on? Because they're all looking around at each other and thinking, we're decent players here. We're players that can play football. But they've got to have the guidance from above them. And they've not got that at all. And that's what we're lacking. We've got the players. I'm not concerned about the squad of players that we've got right now. And we could potentially add to that in the next couple of days. That's not my concern. My concern is how that systematically is put together. And that falls with Bruce. And that falls with the assistants. And I have a massive concern about us moving forward in the season because of that reason. And for that reason, that's why he's under massive pressure. And that press conference told me everything I needed to know about his position right now. So this is why this game for me, and I'll reiterate it again, it's massive tonight, because it will tip the balance one way or another. We get the 3 points. He can breathe easy. We as fans can breathe easy after 3 or 4 games and think, right, 7 points. That's not a bad start. But if we don't win tonight and we lose, we've got a week or 2 weeks in the international break where the pressure's going to build 10 times as much. The fans, social media, or in general, are going to be genuinely worried. It's all going to crank up. So he needs to put that. He needs to make sure he's putting it up them players tonight and making sure we put in a performance.
Great stuff, mate. Great stuff. Nathan, your views on Steve Bruce, who has just come out with that classic line. He hopes we can get a good performance.
Yeah, I was listening to him just there saying he's talking about hope of having a good performance and hope of getting a result and Burnley are a good team. This, that, and everything we've heard already. I'm going to take a bit of a different approach and throw a bit of cold water on the notion that Bruce is a good man manager and that's all he is. So he doesn't have that tactical awareness. Obviously, we've talked about that. Everyone's mentioned that, but this notion of this man management thing, like you said, Steve, when the penalties were in the run up to the penalties and the preparation for the penalties, if he's a good man manager, he's going over to the players who are taking him, he's putting an arm around them, he's giving them a little bit of a pep talk, that kind of thing. But he doesn't do that. Like he categorically does not do that. In terms of the people that he man manages are the people that are favourable towards him in the dressing room. So what does he man manage Shelvey, and then is that it because Shelvey gets in the team every week because he supports him? Is that? I think that's as far as I can see it going. To be honest, like we talked about, I've mentioned a number of times, like you said, Steve, when he doesn't sort of do anything on the side of the pitch, and it was we were struggling to get them into a huddle for the penalty shootout, when the drinks breaks were going on after Project Restart, and other teams ran in for a huddle straight away, and the manager was in the rear, like having that free team talk, having that free opportunity to affect the game and to do something about it. He was stood like idling around like he does for 90 minutes every single game, walking, pacing backwards and forwards. And like you said, it was Steve Agnew that was doing bits and pieces. But other than that, he didn't do anything at all. I think what it's shown this week is that Bruce is he's not used to managing a club the size of Newcastle United. And for me, when push comes to shove, he cracks, and we've seen him crack a few times now in front of the media. For me, it's a miracle that he's not been criticised more openly and more harshly by pockets of the media before now. The media, in my opinion, have been quite positive towards him. And when we've seen this drab football that we've been served up week in, week out, the media are still lapping it up usually, and they're still saying, "Oh well, yeah, better than Rafa. He's doing well, and you're safe and one thing and another." But we see that football every week, and I think it was Mitch that was saying last night, our fans know like good football, and we know what bad football is, and when we see it, we call it out. And on the occasion when the journalists do say something to him, that's when he cracks, and that's when he falls apart. As Martin said, he's very lucky that there's not 52,000 people there today voting with their feet and telling him exactly what they think of him, because I no doubt if we were all in there, we would be doing too. He's a master of excuses as well. We've seen that time and time again in the little over a season that he's been here. First, it was the players couldn't play anything other than a back five, and they were Rafford, and that's all they could play, defensively on the counter attack. That's not. And then he said, so he's had like 2-3 transfer windows, and he's had, by Newcastle standards, a huge amount of money furnished upon him. So he can't change. He hasn't put down any sort of benchmark or any sort of style, despite having that amount of money, bringing in the players that he supposedly wants to bring in, and that's done nothing for us at all. You only have to look at like someone like Ancelotti, who's been at Everton a year, and he's brought about a style of play, and he's brought in players, spent a bit of money, but they brought in a style of play that suits them, and look where they are now in the league because of it. It was a work in progress last season, and in less than a year, he's turned them into a decent team. So why aren't we seeing any fruits of that labour now that Steve Bruce is putting? It's all bullshit, and it's all hot air.
Great stuff as always, lads. The teams are on the pitch as the Sky photos come up, and we go through the teams. So, quick prediction, Andre.
I share a couple of wines, so I would say 3-1 Newcastle, 2-1 United. Send Maximin to have a great game today.
Yeah, I'm going to stick. It was an awful lot of negative talk here before the build-up, but it hasn't rubbed off on me. I'm going to stay positive. I'm going to do a bit of this, like Shelvey, and this, and go 1-0 Newcastle.
Okay, Martin.
I'm going to stick with the draw. I went with the draw start of the week. I'll stick with it. I think we'll both sides to score.
Al-Walid.
St. James Park and rainy night. I guess Newcastle will make first home win.
Okay, and we'll go to Dom.
I think I like goal 1-0 to the Toon.
Okay, Chris.
Very tenuously optimistic 2-1 Toon.
Pete.
As with every Newcastle game, the first goal is absolutely crucial. So I'm still going to stick with my 2-1 Newcastle, just on the basis that I am hoping and praying that we score the first goal.
Nathan?
I think it's going to be 1-1 tonight.
Okay, I'm going for 2-1 to Burnley. I'm going for Wilson to get his third Newcastle goal tonight, though, but I'm going 2-1 Burnley. So goalkeepers are just getting to their ends. Darlow's in his snazzy pink top, which Martin, it's definitely grown on you, Martin, isn't it?
It is, mate. I don't know. Andrea's just said there on the text that we accept you as you are. Not quite sure what that means, but I'll take it. Yeah, I actually kind of like it. I think it stands out from that point. That's all I'll say.
Get the purple one like me, and it's an easy transition into the pink then.
Yeah.
Isn't it? Okay.
Yeah.
There's something wrong about saying into the pink on a show, mate. Definitely. I know this is an over 18 channel, but
yeah, I'm glad I just said I like the top.
Steve Bruce biting his lip and turning to speak to Steve Agnew. It's obviously the camera's focused on him. Obviously, I'm not listening to what's being said. I can only imagine, but. Yeah, let's hope Steve Bruce has managed to drill things into the team as they all take the knee at an empty St James's Park once again. And we get ready to kick this Premier League game off. Newcastle United at home to Burnley in the Premier League 8 o'clock kickoff live on Sky Sports. Stay with us tonight and listen to our rabbiting on about what is going on the pitch at St James's Park. Darren Baldwin Funerals, big thank you to you for sponsoring along with QTech shop.co.uk. We'll give you another shout out later on. Do you have black and white robes, Al Walid? Says Azzy.
What's that?
Do you have black and white robes? I think that's supposed to read not throbs.
No,
I think it's,
my shirt on the laundry because I played today.
You got Starbucks. You dropped Starbucks on your Newcastle top.
Where was the wig from, Al Walid? I love the wig.
Where's the long hair?
Was it a wig?
That's his hair. That's what's underneath.
Paul Davison wondering if Steve Bruce takes recreational drugs before each game because he does some unreal E faces. For those people who've never took E and watched anybody take E, it's probably not something that they'll understand. But yeah, I can see what you mean. He does pull a few faces on the sideline. He's the camera is more focused on our management team than it is on the pitch at the minute. So obviously a lot being said about Steve Bruce.
I think there was a lot said in the build-up from what I could hear. To be honest, they were talking about it in the studio. The pundits were sort of like half defending him, really, as usual. Be interesting to see tonight how we get on with Shah playing there. Like, I wonder if that's going to change as like how we play out from the back, if at all. Because like with Lascelles, he just gives it to Shelby, doesn't he, and then leads into it. But it'd be interesting to see if the bank of four move up a little bit, because if Shah can play it out. Well,
we've just had the ball there twice pre this free kick, and all we've done is lumped it up to Wilson.
Yeah. Is that right? Is Hendrick?
Thanks.
Is Hendrick wide right?
Looks like
he's a central midfielder. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. It looks like he's right. Joe Linton looked like he was more central.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's definitely on the wide right, but what he tends to do when he plays there, he tends to drift inside, doesn't he? So he leaves us without any width at all on that side.
Yeah, and that was the same against West Ham. It was exactly the same against West Ham in that it left it really wide. But,
big thanks to Fungo Freddy, Fungo Freddy's pointing us in the direction of YouTube Rave Resurrections. If you want to compare people off their face on drugs to Steve Bruce's face on the sidelines, quite why we've gone down that direction, I really don't know. But thanks for that.
The difference is if Hendricks is playing sort of that inside right midfielder, Kraft hasn't got the ability to get up and down like Manquillo, so we're basically haven't got a.
Oh, Wilson!
Go on!
Unlucky.
Wilson chased a lost cause there. He took a little bit of a knock as well as he got through there, but with a slippery surface at St James's Park, Wilson chased a lost cause, went through, challenged for the ball. Goalkeeper got there as well. Just watching the replay again, the goalkeeper took a bad touch. Wilson closed it down. Wilson got the final touch and it went out for a goal kick. Wilson seemed to take a little bit of a knock there, but he's okay.
He should have gone down. There was contact. If he'd have gone down, he could have got something from that.
Now, let's not be cheating.
Well, no, look, it's not cheating if there's genuine contact, and there was. He's clearly hurt from it. Come on, any of you guys that have played a striker role before would know. If there's contact and there's an opportunity to win a penalty for your team, it needs to be done. But obviously, I think he genuinely thought he could get the ball, which is why he stayed on his feet. So fair play to him. But that pressing, that intensity is what we need from the off. But we need other players around him. There was still another 10, 12 yards between him and the furthest other midfielder, and that can't happen. We can't have him as a lone striker doing all the running.
No, it does look like Joe Linton's playing number 10, though, Pete, doesn't it?
Yeah,
great touch by Joe Linton, by the way. Great touch by Joe Linton. Wilson puts Joe Linton through after a great little play, a bit of play by Joe Linton again. Newcastle certainly dominating the early stages. Little interplay there. Joe Linton gets the ball and it goes out for a corner from Hayden.
But what Joe Linton did there with the hold-up play was fantastic play, and that's what we want to see from him every time. Is not just admiring the layoff, but actually making that run in and beyond Callum Wilson, because he needs that support and he needs that second option as well to take the pressure off him. So that was what it was. Nice little passage of play there.
He's just doing this.
Joe Linton taking up that role where he was exactly there, but when he was playing up top on his own. And that doesn't do it at all. There's no one beyond him. But
he's doing the simple stuff, Nathan, isn't he? That's what Joe Linton's doing right now. He's doing the simple stuff. He's not trying anything outlandish. He's tracking back. He's getting the ball. He's putting a tackle in. All the stuff he should just be doing anyway. But that stuff he hasn't been doing, and that's why he's starting to look slightly better. Burnley have gone up the other end from a Newcastle corner. The ball flashes across the box. Darlow must have got a hand to it. It was a ball in from Newcastle. The Burnley back four cleared it. Ball fell to the midfield player, and Burnley went through and flashed the ball across the face of Newcastle's goal. Darlow got a hand to it, put it behind for a corner. So it's a corner now to Burnley. Good save by Darlow. Does Dubravka come back into the team if Darlow keeps this form up?
100%.
100%. Yeah,
but Darlow has done well for us. But Dubravka comes straight back in.
Yep. Corner taken. Darlow smiles as he collects it easily. Omar predicts a 0-0 draw.
I do like Darlow, but his game time is a little sporadic, so he's not getting the game time to get better or to get home on the game. Yeah.
It's right, Dom. I mean, unfortunately for goalkeepers, that's the one thing. If somebody hits a good run of form, then it's the one position you're unlikely to change. I mean, Steve Harper spent almost 200 games on the bench for Newcastle. 200, more or less. Didn't get many appearances at Newcastle, so it does happen.
I quite like Steve Harper, to be honest with you. He was a star. He didn't care. Well, he did care, but he was happy to pick the pieces up.
So Maximum went on a jinking run there, but pulled up again. Let's hope that's not too serious. His play continues. Keep an eye on St. Maximin. He seems to be okay now, but it's always the concern when St. Maximin pulls up and you just wonder, is there an underlying problem there again? Daz, your thoughts on the opening 8 minutes?
Yeah, it's very early yet. Like you just mentioned, St. Maximum, we need him really to turn up at his best tonight to get something out of this. And Joe Linton, he's like a man possessed in the last couple of weeks. He must have been listening to you, Steve. Since you gave him that target of 10 games, he's got better each game. So long may that continue.
Yeah, no, I would agree. There's definitely been a vast improvement in Joe Linton, and people know what my opinion of Joe Linton has been. But as I say, I did set out a 10 match plan for him, and he's obviously abided by it. Martin, your view on the opening exchanges?
Yeah, it's been okay. Obviously, as we said, we were trying to work out the formation, so it definitely looks like he's playing Joe Linton just behind, playing him as a 10. Hopefully, it takes the pressure off the lad. As Pete Nutt said there before, the hold-up play from the first initial piece, he did well. But I think the other thing he needs to do if we're to get anything from him from that position is when he does get the ball up that end and he does make the play, he's got to pull left or right and link up with the wings, and he's got to try and create the spaces in those channels for Wilson to get into. Otherwise, we end up with Wilson pulling out wide, which leaves us with nobody in the middle. So I think he's just, when he does the hold-up play, I think he's just got to box a little bit cleverer as to where he goes with the run, rather than just kind of run a blind alley as such. But yeah, no, it's been okay so far. But as Dad said, early moments.
Al-Walid, your thoughts on your opening 10 minutes, Al-Walid?
Mr. Bruce is still he playing on the 90 minutes. He's not in a rush. Still waiting any mistake to happen from Burnley. Saint Maximin, I hope he's not just waste his effort, and it's wood of I don't know how to call it in English. It's very hard or almost impossible to just make a dribbling into 10 player in defense of Burnley. This will cause him. I'm worried about him. But this will cause him any more injury further. I still so far they're stable.
Okay, Andre, your thoughts on the opening 10 minutes in this game?
Well, it's nothing. I just see the possession stat: 66% ball possession by United. It's not very typical. I would say Saint Maximin seems to have a bright start. Let's hope he can last 90 minutes. But I just heard some statistic over the commentary here that Newcastle conceded more than 50 shots for the first 3 games of the season, and no wonder Darlow is number 1 for saves, similar to what Dubravka was last season. So imagine Newcastle is always like number 1 for shots conceded and shots saved, irrespective of whether Dubravka or Darlow in goal, which also speaks bad for the shape of the team and for the defense.
Okay, Chris.
Yeah, St. Maximum is all over the place. I'm honestly a little bit nervous for him when he gets tied up with players because he might. We don't know what his form is coming off injuries. And I'm looking more for like the link up play because it seems like even when in games when Wilson scores, he often seems like adrift or like out of the picture for long stretches. So maybe encouraging to see him get some early action and some play around the 18-yard box. So far, all right. And the formation seems to be. I'm mixed about the formation so far.
Newcastle with a chance. Wasted. Absolutely wasted. Wilson got to the byline.
Some joy there, though.
He was, yeah. He got to the byline on the right-hand side. He cut the ball back, but the ball was
ball, Shelby.
Wasted.
Nathan, stop that nonsense now, will you?
It was a good ball by Shelby. It has to be said. The ball was cut back by Wilson. It was Joe Linton who was ghosting in at the back post, but didn't quite get the connection that he was hoping for.
That's it. He didn't need that.
Jamie went as wide off the ball spin,
Goalkeeper was in no man's land. So Maximin's got the ball now. Newcastle still pressing down that right-hand side, but Burnley getting the ball and they clear it away.
Joe Linton just didn't show any desire to get on the end of that, did he? Really?
Sure.
I mean, I've got I'm not going to start the Joe Linton fan club off, but it was good defending by Burnley. But I know what you're saying. I mean, maybe he didn't show as much desire, but there's definitely Maximin collects the ball on the halfway line. He's taking it across to the edge of the box. Shoot, jinking in.
What a goal, Maximin! Wow! What is that?
St. Maximin scores.
Don't go over and hug Bruce.
I
Don't go on.
said it in my prediction. Yes, it's a maximum to score.
What a goal!
That's it. He's off now.
Yeah,
Where's he going?
Obviously over to the medical staff.
He's on my bench this week. Sorry, Alan. I didn't mean that.
Pull the side, guys.
St. Maximin collected the ball on the edge of on the edge of the centre circle. He
I think
changed
this
one
is-
way, changed another, and he hit the ball from the edge of the D at the Lee's end and put it through the right-hand side of the goalkeeper to give Newcastle United a lead. But it was a great goal.
That's absolutely shocking defending from Burnley, by the way, isn't it?
Lovely.
Shocking defending.
You know
Goalkeeper
what?
got a hand
Turned 3 ways.
Martin, I absolutely love that defending from Burnley. I love it. I want to see
Best
more
goal,
of that.
best
I
goal of
want
the
to see
season
more
so
of that
far.
from them.
Yeah, that's goal season. Yeah.
It's a lovely
Best goal of
finish,
the
though,
season.
guys.
That
It's
was
a
a great
really
finish.
well worked bit of play from St. Maximin. And that's that
Go on, lads.
individual
Now,
quality
Burn.
that we talk about. That's
Samantha
that
says
individual
she should be.
quality that he has.
Samantha says she should be the coach. Guess who's back again? St. Maximin, says Mike Gent.
All my mates are texting me already, giving me shit at this point.
Stu says, right, we should hammer these now. We can smell blood as well.
But this is it.
Yeah.
We've got that first goal that I mentioned. You know, that it's always crucial in our games.
Yeah,
But
that's the story of United. It's the first goal.
it is. But then it's about what we do now. So we've got the window to ourselves now. We should
Press on.
continue to cause. Yeah, exactly. Do what Brighton.
Come on, Joe.
did
Get
with
up there,
one-
lad. Get up.
What? Just hanging back. Come on.
That's a great touch.
Oh,
Unlucky.
you know what?
Look at Maxi on the left, man.
That's not a bad ball from Hendricks either.
So, Chris, 15 minutes played. The question I've asked the other lads, what's your take on the opening 15 minutes? Your opinion's going to be slightly different to the rest of the lads after we took the lead.
Yeah, I mean, I said before that St. Maximin was all over the place. I sort of felt kind of on the razor's edge between brilliant and sort of reckless. But I mean, you saw there that sort of his.
Now, Joe, burst up.
He's an impossible matchup for Burnley or a lot of teams, and he just the combination of his speed and agility and twitchiness and quickness to be able to shift everywhere. Yeah, he's a handful, and he showed it there.
Oh.
Matthew Hart says Bruce is doing a sterling job.
This is not Steve Bruce.
It's just that Bruce drew it up there. Score within the 15 minutes.
Pete, great goal by St. Maximin. They're just showing it again on Sky.
This is why we signed him, and this is a lot of why last season we sort of depended on him, because he has those moments in him. He has those moments where he can produce and make the difference. And for a while over lockdown, restart, and beginning of this season, we haven't really seen that from him. So it's nice to see that quality shine through. And funnily enough, it was him playing in, or certainly positioned in, that number 10 spot where he picked up the ball. So that was an interesting, position, and he can cause a lot of problems there. But overall, to be honest, we've pressed them with a little bit of intensity. We've kept the ball a lot better than we have in previous games. It's not been a bad start, but we've got the goal. We can't sit on our laurels here. Giving free kicks like that away is not what we want right now, and that's all that the Burnley are going to play for. They're going to try and lump that ball into the box and cause havoc, and try and see if they get something from it. So, we need to box smart a little bit, and we need to make sure that we're not giving too many cheap free kicks away. But on the ball, we've got better players. It's as simple as that. We've got better players than Burnley, so it's what we do on the ball that can make the difference. But a good start.
Barry Hogan just reminding us it was Steve Bruce that made ASM's injury worse by taking ages to take him off. Run it off, he said. What an arse. Nathan, 1-0 up, Newcastle United, nearly 20 minutes on the clock. Burnley got a free kick in a dangerous position outside the box. We'll just we'll watch this before we come to your views on this opening exchange. Free kick taken. Burnley win it, but Newcastle win the ball again and look to clear, but Burnley get it back on the edge of the area. Ball crossed in. Darlow flaps. Whistle's gone. free kick to Newcastle. So yeah, your views, Nathan, on this opening 20 minutes or so.
Yeah, we've looked really tidy on the ball. We've been what I've noticed is that Shelby's been getting the ball out, and he's had someone out wide to give it to now. I think I said that midweek when St. Maximum's not playing, we don't have that width. We don't have that natural width because our forward players tend to sort of drift inside. So we've had opportunities to be able to switch the play, and we've looked a lot better for it. I think Shelby's not been too bad, to be honest, today. Like, credit to him because he's needed to step it up. There's a long way to go yet, obviously. I think Joe Linton's been really good. He's been really tidy in possession. He's been strong in the knockdowns. I think it's a bit harsh for that chance where Wilson broke forward because he was in the right position, but the ball back to him was just wasn't very good. I feel like so. I think he's trying his best and he's getting in good positions. Wilson's been great. I think all across our front line, the press has been there. We've had that intensity in the press, and it's made all the difference for us. Wilson's, I don't know if anyone saw it, but Wilson did a nice little chest knockdown for St. Maximum for the goal, and that was like he was knocking down a lad there that's like 6 foot odd.
Go on.
Another great
have a shot.
Oh, just a bit. That's going to be a free kick. Yeah. Joe Linton's he's played a few really good balls in, hasn't he? Like that one there, that was a fantastic pass into Lewis. Really unlucky, got closed down quite quickly. But that's our way to win this game: getting in behind, getting around the corners, getting our quicker runners in behind. Because we're not going to beat him in an aerial duel. These two centre halves, but the way we get in is going to be like through around the side, and that's where we had the most joy today so far.
Daz, there's those dreaded words. Shelby playing better. Is that true?
Yeah, no, he is.
Or is that a contradiction in terms?
No, it's. I'm afraid to say it, but it's what I said at the start is all coming true so far. But there's a long way to go. But yeah, look, I'm delighted to see the Shelby of old do something, and delighted to see Jonathan perform, and we've got our St. Max as we know him has turned up, but again it's all way too early.
Okay, Martin.
Go.
Yeah. Martin, your take on Shelby? Is this a better performance so far?
Well done, Hayden.
Martin, Shelby, better performance so far. Have we lost you there, Martin? You're on mute. Are you on mute?
Sorry. Yeah, can you hear me now?
Got you there, Martin. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, done a spenny.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, he's been okay so far. I think Nathan made a good point with ASM's width. I guess Joe Linton just putting himself about again.
Well done.
Yeah, Shelby's been okay. Look, I mean, he has those capabilities. We know he has it, but it's just the inconsistency. If he was doing it game in, game out, you'd be giving him the plaudits every week, but he doesn't do it week in, week out. So for me, don't dislike him. I just don't want to see the laziness. I want to see the consistency from him and be the player and the pass player that we know he can be, because he can play a ball and break a defense, easily when he puts his mind to it. But I think sometimes he's just lazy sometimes. But yeah, so far so good, Steve. So far so good.
Good stuff. That's what a lot of the people watching and the comments are saying. Gary McBurney says, looks like Shelby is wanting to win. John is comparing him to a Harry Potter character. Dunhill Bain says, more disciplined performance from Shelby. Joe Linton running in again, putting more effort in. Al-Walid, John Joe Shelby's played better tonight so far.
In general, all the players, for Shelby maybe, I think the front line helped Shelby to maybe less pressure on him today. Maybe sometimes you become under pressure if your coach asks you too many things to do, maybe. And Hendrik helped him as well as Hayden. And maybe they now have more chemistry. These three.
Okay, Nathan, Shelby pulling the strings, put a great long ball in before the goal, which almost helped us take the lead. But all round better performance so far, and he's the man who stuck up for Bruce this week, of course. Probably somebody who getting the captain armband means a lot as well.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a long way to go in terms of winning any plaudits back on this panel. I think after what he's served up so far this season, I don't think anyone's under any illusions that that all is forgiven, so to speak. But this is the kind of performance that you want to more like the kind of performance, let's say, that you want to be seeing from him. Not we're only 24 minutes in, but he's had some further. I think he's helped with, like I said, with having options out wide. That always gives us something to aim for. It switches the play, it drags the team out of position. So that's always helpful for him because we've not really had that. But yeah, like I said, there were a few times midweek where you're wanting a player like that to be able to boss a lower league midfield, and he couldn't do it. So the fact that he's being a bit better today, it's more about temperament, I think, than it is ability. It's all if he decides he wants to play, then he'll be one of the best players on the pitch. But he only decides that every 10 games, and that's that's not good enough, is it? Sometimes. So. Yeah, but pleasing to see. Glad that he's pulling a few strings. But yeah, early days yet. I'm not going to get carried away.
Good to see David Moyes has chosen
What's a ball in?
Good to see David Moyes has chosen NUFC Matters to watch the game. He's just saying he
Right,
hated his time. He's hated his time at Sunderland. Newcastle have scored with all 4 of their shots on target in the Premier League this season. So what are we complaining about? 4 shots, 4 goals. Some strike rate, that 100% strike rate. Andre, John Joe Shelby, were criticising him before the game, but so far so good. Seems to have decided he wants to play today's game.
Well, to me, John Joe is a strange one. Like this is the guy who frustrates me the most because he has the quality, like probably. In terms of passing ability and vision, he's one of the best in the Premier League. But at the same time, it's very untypical for a British player. He doesn't have a good engine. He doesn't have pace, and he's very lazy at times. And I remember what Rafa said about him, and it was mentioned in some of the podcasts recently, that he just doesn't listen to the instructions. He's very indisciplined. So John Joe, that's what you get from him, like 3 bad games, then one great game, or like the game against Newport, he was probably the worst player on the pitch, and then he delivered this great shot after 87, 88 minutes. Honestly, I think that if
free kick.
Well done.
Yeah, if Newcastle want to progress as a team, I think that they need to change John Joe with somebody more dynamic and more consistent. And I think that he kind of drags this team down in terms of style of play, if you want, because he wants every ball to pass through him. He takes the ball from defense. He plays very deep, but he's also capable of pulling passes like what we saw 10, 15 minutes ago for Wilson.
Dom, are you a Shelby fan?
Honestly, I think he's a type of player who can change a game, but he doesn't do it enough. He can be a person who can, like I've just said, to change a game and to put that pass in. But unfortunately, he does not do it enough for me. And if you do that once every 10 games, does not the match make, and I find it frustrating. I mean, the last few games he has been frustrating. He's given the ball away. He's thought, I'll give the Hollywood pass. I'll give this to this person, but he's not actually thought about other than himself.
Okay, Mike Stewart says Shelby's a luxury player, great when he has time, but if the game is too quick, he gets lost. Chris, would you agree with that assessment?
Yeah, I know it's he's either just kind of the arse to put in a shift, except for a few long balls and the occasional long range shot. But yeah, I mean he was. I was at the game, the Manchester United game, when he was introduced, and as a new acquisition, and I at that point I didn't know too much about him, but I just really haven't felt that he hasn't progressed in the 5 years that that he's been with us, and maybe backslid a little bit. So I don't know. Sort of, he's always kind of been every so often been one guy that they would say, "Oh, can we?" He's one person that we could actually get money for in return if we moved him on. But I just feel like we've kept him past his sell-on date to really bring value to the club, and I feel like he's just kind of hit his ceiling. And he used to be talked about as an England prospect, or had some English caps, but he hasn't come anywhere near the
That's a great ball.
Kraft's got the ball on the right-hand side, checks inside, lays the ball back, comes back to Shelby, who, of course, we're talking about at the moment. Ball's back with Kraft on the far right. Little interplay between him and Shelby, who crossed the ball in.
Oh, unlucky.
That's a great ball in, to be fair.
Yeah,
great ball in.
Great
Found
ball
Wilson at the near post. Wilson just couldn't get enough direction on the header. Newcastle United 1, Burnley 0. Half an hour played. Wilson, when you see the replay, headed that comfortably wide. But Pete, Shelby, Albert Mooney saying we need to lay off him, but we haven't been slating him. We've been praising him. He says Hayden gets away with murder. What's your view on that?
Not for me. Look, Shelby's played well tonight, but he tends to play well against the teams that are the bottom half of the Premier League. And when you're playing the better teams, and when you're forced to then do more work the other end in the defensive positions, that's where he gets found out as a central midfielder. I don't agree with the comments about Hayden gets away with a lot more. I don't. I've been watching Hayden in particular in this game, and he's basically just doing all the doggy work. He's stopping the play on either side of the flanks from Burnley making the start of play. Any throw-ins, he's doubling up. In some cases, tripling up. He's making it difficult for them to get out. He's doing all of that work that people won't necessarily look at and won't necessarily admire, but actually it makes a massive difference to the team, and that's what Hayden gives to you. He won't give you that special pass. He won't give you that, the killer ball or the link between the midfield and the forward line, but he does the work the other way. And we need that, and we appreciate that, and that's why I don't agree with that comment. So I mean, Shelby's had a good game, but like I say, he tends to against teams in the bottom half of the table. But he's certainly helping us tonight.
Corner for Burnley cleared by Newcastle. Got to be fair to the back four at the moment. They're certainly winning the aerial battle against Burnley, which isn't often the case. But Fernandes and Kraft, in particular, playing well in that back four. When you think we're missing Lascelles, that is a concern as the cameras focus on Shaw, who seems to be clutching his knee. He's gone down.
Gone.
He's gone down on the turf.
His shoulder. He's holding his shoulder.
Difficult to see. Sky cameras are replaying it. He's landed on his shoulder.
Another shoulder injury.
That's what he had before, isn't it? That's what he.
Yeah. I think it's the same shoulder as well. It's the same shoulder as well.
At first, he was holding his knee.
Yeah.
And Keogh is going to come on, lads, and Kraft is going to go to centre back here.
No.
We've got no one else on the bench. Steve
Bruce chooses this opportunity to do his hair.
Oh, hang on. Might be okay here.
It's a shame as well. Like you said, they've been fantastic at centre half, these two so far. Fernandes in particular.
Yeah, they have. I mean, when you bear in mind that we're missing Lascelles, Shaw looks as if he could be okay. He's got his hands both down by his sides. He's not holding his arm as Richie was in that game where Richie had to depart. Shaw's going off the pitch, but he looks okay. Looks okay. Steve Bruce turns to Steve Agnew, asking what on earth we're going to do if this substitution has to go through.
I think we told him though. Half against these two.
Shaw's still feeling something in his shoulder as the doctor physios look at it, but I've got a feeling he might be okay, guys.
So
I think he's coming off.
Let's hope so, yeah.
It's a collarbone or something, is it?
that's worrying.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I'd say they're
whether
going to
whether
switch him
they'll
out
risk
here.
Yeah, I don't know whether they'll risk him. They'd be mad to risk him if there's even a 10% chance of a concern that he's redone his injury.
Has he got a head?
on. He might.
Has
He's
he
got
got
a headband on, yes.
What has he
Yes,
got
he
a
has.
headband on for?
It's not the first time
Keeping
he's
his
worn it.
shoulder together.
He wears
You
it
can borrow it, Steve.
Guys, I need your help here. I'm not a man who knows anything about hair.
It's a keepsake from Sav.
It's a keepsake from Sav. We'll have to clarify that on the ladies' night.
Well, if you look back to the Patrick Troughton, is it Patrick Troughton, the goalkeeper
Yes.
for Man City, broke his neck?
Patrick Troughton? No, he was Doctor Who, wasn't he?
Oh, Doctor Who, yeah. Well, Troughton anyway for Man City goalkeeper.
Right. Okay.
You've got to, yeah.
What's that?
You've got
Go on,
to
Dom.
just work it off, haven't you? You've got to work it off.
Oh,
I mean, a lot of the
1-0.
injuries he's got. A lot of
And
injuries he's
it's,
got.
Right.
He did look offside, to be fair. He did look offside when he received the ball.
Ashley Barnes is protesting. He thought he did enough to.
See it from this side now.
Or it could be Kraft.
I think we're going to go to VAR here. I think we're going to VAR.
Oh, no, he's
No,
off.
he's
He's
off.
off.
no,
He's a mile off.
Yeah.
He's a mile offside.
Yeah, he's not offside.
Yeah. Well, I was worried then when I saw Kraft coming back on the pitch. I thought, well, that was it.
Barnes has now been given the explanation by the referee, and
Well done, Jonathan.
he accepts that. He accepts that.
Kraft didn't have a clue there. All the other defenders had their hands up claiming for offside. He didn't have a clue where he was, did he, there, Kraft?
35 minutes played. Newcastle still 1-0 up against Burnley. Somebody asked a question before. I think it was John Davies. He said, "Would we have started Carroll? Daz, would you have started Carroll? I think Joe Linton deserved the chance tonight. I've got to be honest.
Definitely wouldn't have started Carroll. As I was saying the last day, he's fine for an impact player for the last 20 minutes when you're 1-0 down, or you want to, even if you want to hold on to a lead, because he can help out in the back line as well. But no, definitely wouldn't be starting him. If he couldn't score against Newport, he's not going to score against Burnley.
Martin, same view for you, is it, on Andy Carroll?
Yeah, no, I think Joe Linton deserved to start. Certainly the first 36 minutes of this game, I think he's played all right. He's holding the ball up well. He's getting stuck in. So I think he certainly offers more mobility of getting us, up to that final third and getting into it. So look, the lad's putting himself about, holding the ball. So yeah, definitely deserves a start and playing well so far, in my opinion.
Al-Walid?
Yellow card.
I guess they should. I wish if I see more cooperation between Maximin and Jewelton.
Okay, Nathan, would you have started Andy Carroll tonight?
I'd go one further than that, and I'd be pretty happy to never see him start again. For us, to be honest, I think fine as an impact sub. To be honest, like bringing him on, when we need to lump the ball up to somebody. But from what I've seen this season, I don't understand. I know there's a sentimental link that people have got from times gone by when he was good for us and stuff. But this time around, he's offered nothing to us. Like you said, it's been a publicity stunt signing, and he doesn't. If we want to play any sort of system where we're getting the ball down using these wingers and stuff, and he doesn't really fit into that. He's offered very little so far this season. When he's come off the bench, he's looked good in terms of being able to knock the ball up to him, shrugging people off, and it was his presence that got us that penalty over the weekend. But for me, like he shouldn't be starting for us if we're looking to kick on and not be a bottom of the league team.
Joe Linton continuing his bad boy soccer impersonation, gets another yellow card. That's 2 for the season now. He's certainly putting himself about. Andre?
I had some big money on Carroll to score against Newport, and he didn't. So no, I don't want him to start. No, listen, to be honest, I'm a big. I used to love Andy Carroll when he was in his prime, but he's 31, and all these injuries throughout the years took its toll on him. you can tell that he's not as mobile. Like in his prime, he used to be a great center forward, like powerful and also relatively mobile. Now he just cannot move. And I agree with what the guy said. He's good for impact sub for 10 minutes. He can just wreak havoc in set pieces, either up front or at the back. He can help, but he shouldn't start.
Dom, Andy Carroll, would you have started him tonight? As Joe Linton flashes another header into the keeper's arms.
First shot on target, not to be a goal this season.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, Tom.
I've been totally bombarded with comments about Andy Carroll. He is a good person and a good striker on his day, but now he's like with Andre says, he's lost pace. He's lost that confidence as well. I think with being out for so long.
Sorry, Dom. Is that a little bit nasty from Barnes there, or am I just misjudging that?
Yeah, it is.
That's quite hilarious, though, Barnes.
Sorry, Dom.
That's why he does though. The game's not going their way. He starts throwing legs and arms and stuff, and that's what he does.
Chris, your take on Andy Carroll, mate?
Yeah, if you asked me at the beginning of the season, I would not imagine that I would say that I preferred Joe Linton to Andy Carroll, but Joe Linton on the ascendancy and Andy Carroll's not only are his best days behind him, but I just don't see what that he's going to add enough to the club to be playing him regularly, except for the late game injection to kind of win balls in the air and hold the ball or something. So as much as I respect him and see him as one of my sort of favorite tune players of all time, it's just kind of sad to see him kind of on his last legs.
Okay, Pete. We're getting. Somebody said it's a great show. Now it's Andy Carroll's turn to get stick. It's not. It's just the way. It's the way it is, Kenneth Stark. It's opinion. Somebody asked us a question. I've got to ask the lads their opinion. My opinion on Andy Carroll, and he hasn't scored for a calendar year since he came back to Newcastle. So that's not what he was brought in to do. We're all in.
Colin Wilson.
You can't. Of course you can't. And Joe Linton has played better in the last couple of games. So, Pete, Andy Carroll, would you have started him?
No, I agree with Nathan. I wouldn't start him again. He's not good enough to start games for us. We've got better players in front of him, and the classic Andy Carroll right now for us as a club is exactly what he gave us coming on at Tottenham. He came on for the last 15 minutes and we played long balls because we needed something in that game. And he just literally was a menace, and he managed to win us the penalty and effectively, assist us in getting a point. That is what Andy Carroll's role is now at 31 years old and with a lack of mobility to move around the pitch. That's exactly what Andy Carroll is right now. Nothing more, nothing less. No, in short, I don't want to see him start games. And if we're going to progress as a club, he shouldn't be starting games. We need to move beyond him. He's got he got his new deal in the summer. Fantastic, great for him. But he'll see this season out, and then we need to move on. That's just the reality of it. If he moves on to another club and plays another couple of years, great. If he moves on into the coaching staff, fine, no problem. But as a player, that's it now. That's it. He is an impact 15, 20 minutes max, and he can use all of his energy to go out there and try and get something for us if we need it.
Just a big congratulations to one of our regular contributors to the show, Adam Beckett. He's been selected for the NUFC elections. So big congratulations to him. There was originally 14 candidates. Now there is 11. of which Adam is one. So that's great news. We'll wish him all the best. Look forward
Well done,
to
Adam.
hearing an update from
Best
Adam
luck,
when
Adam.
he is when he's next on the show. So yeah, well done. Good to have one of the contributors involved. St. Maximin's on the deck again, getting some treatment. Looks okay. Getting up very, very slowly, but doesn't seem to have anything major. Steve Bruce again talks to Steve Agnew on the sidelines. St. Maximin gets up rather gingerly. Seems to be his right leg.
Well,
As
he injured his right ankle,
Sky
didn't
continued to show his goal as opposed to focusing on him, which would be more interested in, to be perfectly honest. We can see the goal at half time, for God's sake.
he? It was his right ankle that he injured against Brighton, so hopefully it's not a reoccurrence of that.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed it's not. But look, if Bruce was smart and that's still in question, he would have had that conversation to St. Maximin and pre-warned him that that's what this 90 minutes was going to be about. When he gets the ball at his feet and he uses his trickery and his pace, that they're just going to try and chop him down. So I think part of it is that he's expecting it, but at the same time we need to protect him because we don't want to be him picking up any serious injuries on the back of it.
Steve Hasty pointing out that Burnley are starting to apply pressure and winning the possession stat now. That's always a worry when Newcastle take the lead. Matthew Perry says one more foul and Bardsley will be off. Douglas Hunter says, I've just joined NUST so I can vote for Adam. Well done, Douglas. Thank you very much for that. It'd be good to see him get into position. 4 minutes of injury time in this first half as St. Maximin gets back onto the pitch. Zenzub says that should have been a yellow. That was a cynical. St. Max takes punishment over and over again. Persistent infringement at a minimum. Stu can't believe it either. No booking for that. I wish Sky would stop putting the camera on Steve Bruce's face. Yeah, me too, mate. Gerard says ASM being roughed up again. Soon he picks up the ball there. Are 4 or 5 Burnley players around him. They can't cope with him. That's why. Man United will come in for them if they can't get Sancho, says Geordie Jedi, filling us all with transfer deadline nerves. We need to put this game to bed second half, says Dr. Rockter. And David Moyes is still here. I'm still allowing him to post until he starts getting on me wick. He says, Tyneham, we are football fans, are a passionate lot, best in the country. Yeah, thanks, mate. Keep it sensible and we'll keep you on. Sean just says Lewis is quality, and Rob said there's no protection for ASM. Coming into the last couple of minutes then of this first half, Newcastle United are still winning 1-0, and it has to be said, have looked comfortable in the majority of this game. Shelby for a change. Shelby for a change has turned up, which is always handy. Joe Linton's put a shift in again. Shaw has looked quite comfortable alongside Kraft and Ferdinand in the back, and St. Maximin has scored the goal and played well as well. So also got plenty of choices on the bench as Newcastle try again to forge another opening. Shelby with the outside. Balls for Hendrick.
That's an awful finish.
Hendrick had too much time there, if there is such thing as having too much time. It was a great ball by Shelby with the outside of his boot, and it fell from a Burnley defender's head straight to Hendrick on the outside right. He had time to pick his spot, and he hit the side netting.
Yeah.
Just got to put your.
I mean, you really want a left leg on that, don't you?
Yeah, you do, Martin. You do.
You want a left footer on that to curl it to the other post.
It was a sublime ball. Sublime ball by Shelby again, though, who has to be said has turned up today wearing the captain's armband, has certainly put a shift in. Burnley, it has to be said, do not look at the races. And of course, Burnley slow starters last season as well got themselves into a bit of a position before Sean Dyche pulled off a miracle, got the team playing well, and got them away from the bottom.
It's what they do. They tend to get to Christmas and they're in a bad position, and then they'll get to.
Go on, lad. Again, how many times?
I tell you, if we continue to play like this and ASM gets the ball second half, I can see a red card for Burnley coming.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's another
again, there is not one genuine attempt to get that ball off him.
It was another cynical foul.
Just push him and take him out. So that again, I don't know if it was a yellow. Was it a yellow card? It should have been.
No card, I think.
It's mad. Absolutely mad.
Now he's limping again.
It's clearly every team has a strategy to take ASM out of and take him out of our side. It's dirty.
Danger man, isn't it?
Yeah.
It was the same last season against Burnley, though. They were just chopping him down every time he got near the ball.
Yeah.
And to be fair as well, that was a foul on Barnes there from Fernandez, but didn't get pulled up.
That was not a foul. No way. He played for that all day long.
Good to hear Sky Sports, just whilst there's another break in play, are making a big campaign to stop trolls on Twitter as the half-time whistle goes at St James's Park. Newcastle United 1-0 up. I did retweet it today. There's a big campaign being launched called hashtag hate won't stop us, and it's a campaign week to try and get measures involved with social media so that people can stop being trolled. Many of you will notice that we haven't had Spenny Mag on for the last week, and unfortunately he has taken a bit of a sabbatical for that very reason. He's been targeted by fellow Newcastle fans who have made his life hell, and unfortunately hasn't been able to cope with that as best he could. We've tried our best to get him through it, but he just felt he needed a break from social media and a break from his mobile phone, which is awful. Thanks to these minority of Newcastle fans who think it's right to troll. So great to see Sky actually taking some kind of stand. Great to see them actually doing something I suggested 12 months ago, which was for social media users to provide some sensible form of ID, i.e. a passport number, something which, if you are found guilty of trolling on Twitter, you can end up in serious trouble. And that is really what is needed for some of this scum. And that is what they are on Twitter, who are basically targeting a lot of fellow Newcastle fans. It's happened to the girls who come on our show, and it's happened to some of the lads. Luckily, some of the lads are like me. They've got skin like rhinoceroses, and they don't give a monkey's what some people say. But unfortunately, some people mentally aren't strong enough to cope with it. And you'll get your comeuppance, people, because eventually, when the law does change, you will end up in prison for this. And I tell you what, I hope you enjoy it when you bend over for the soap in the shower. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, that's my point. That's my point made. And I think essentially all the lads will agree with us on that. It's half time at St James's Park. Newcastle United 1, Burnley 0. St Maximin with a goal. Daz, your thoughts on the first half, please.
Yeah, absolutely delighted with the first half. Everything is going to plan, but now I'm worried because everything is going to plan. We've all been Newcastle fans for way too long to know that there's danger. Hopefully, we can ride our luck like Bruce does, and I'll blow it up now. I'd be happy with 1-0, and we can take our international break in peace. And just as you mentioned, shout out to Spenny. We miss you. We miss you on the WhatsApp group for definite, and your banter. Talk to you soon, buddy.
Good stuff. Yeah. Martin, your views on the first half, please, as we see a squirrel dancing on television. It's the adverts, of course, nothing to do with the game.
I was going to say I must have a lag because he's gone off my screen. I think it was a good half. I think we played well. I think Shelby's played good. Some good passing. We've got up the field, well. We've defended well against their aerial threat of Barnes. I think they've kind of resorted to kicking us. A few yellow cards out there. So for me, I think second half, look, lads, come back out. Same again. Maybe a little bit of protection for ASM. And go again. There's no reason why we can't either add to this and see it out. I don't think Burnley have offered anything up, to be honest. And I think what they have, the two boys between Shah and Fernandez at the back, I think they've coped. So, yeah, good half, good 45.
Good stuff. Al-Walid, you happy with that first half?
Actually, I think we should now make Steve Bruce angry every day. Even Joelton today was angry. Seemed angry. Still, we depend on individual solution. It was amazing goal, the best goal I think so far in Premier League this season from St Maximin. I'm worried about him, as I said. because his style of play. But absolutely, it was amazing goal. Let's hope this will continue.
Okay, Nathan, your take on that first half?
Yeah, I'll as Dad says, I'll give a shout out to Spenny as well. I didn't know Spenny before I came on here, and since coming on here, I've got really friendly with him, become friends, and you couldn't hope to meet a nicer guy, could you? So hope he's doing all right, and hope to speak to him soon. For that half, yeah, I mean we we're really tidy in possession, kept hold of the ball really well. A lot more movement from us than I've seen in recent performances. Everyone seemed like they always had somebody to give the ball to, which is been a far cry from some of the other games so far this season, perhaps save the Morecambe and West Ham games. Shows the world of difference when St. Maximin's in our team and playing well. He drags people out of position. He makes defenders, double check where they are. Showing highlights of him now, and I think when he did the cut inside for the shot for his goal, there's three defenders on him there. All three of them turned the back and then turned back again. So it just shows how much he brings to our team when he's playing well. So I hope those knocks he picked up in the first half aren't serious and don't sort of carry over to the second half. But yeah, more of the same. Please, Newcastle. Yeah, it's we look a lot more lively. We've got outlets all over the pitch, and yeah, it'd be nice to see Almiron come on perhaps, because I think Almiron would. He'll be having a bit of a field day today on this game, I think.
Irfan Photo, thanks for becoming a member. Gerard says Joe Linton's been classed today. Passes by whole squad be much better and less passing backwards. Andre, good first half, 1-0 up. Things are looking good at the moment.
Yeah, just let me say a couple of words on what you started with, like this topic on the trolling on Twitter. I just want to say that, we're all fans of Newcastle United. We are all around the world. We should respect each other. We might have different opinions and we might disagree, and we can joke about it and we can have a good banter, but let's not abuse each other or attack each other like we don't know each other personally. And let's all be one big community and be really supportive. Anyhow, the team is not doing great on the pitch for decades. And we should really be more tolerant, and not everyone takes things lightly. So my plea to everyone is to be more respectful to others. We all love the same team, so basically this is what unites us all. And regarding the first half, great first half, I haven't seen Newcastle pressing for a long time, so I'm very glad to see them pressing. As people mentioned, Joe Linton is having a good game. Alan St. Maximin is having a good game. Callum Wilson is class and he's very, very consistent. The guys at the back, Sharon Fernandez, are having a good game. So all in all, very positive, and I'm looking forward to the second half. I think that it's a good game, as Nathan said. Good game for Almiron to be brought in, and also a good game for Ryan Fraser to finally, make his mark in Newcastle.
Okay, Dom, your view on the first half?
Yeah, I think it's been a 50-50 game so far. You've got to look at from both sides. They've attacked our goal, we've attacked theirs, so it has been a 50-50. And if it wasn't for St. Maxim with a bit of jink and a bit of class, it would still been 0-0. So yeah, it's been a good half so far. Okay,
good stuff. Chris?
Yeah, I mean, I like what I've seen. I'm of course I'm worried about the protection for St. Maximin. He definitely is being the target man in terms of abuse from the other side. And on that point, yes, solidarity with Spenny, and we're thinking of you, and top man, top lad, and hopefully he's back with us soon. But we're thinking of him, and he's always on our side.
Okay, Pete, your view on the first half?
It's been a good half. We're up until the sort of latter stage of the half. We had most of the possession. We've looked dangerous, which has been the key. We've looked like not just that we've just got the one goal, but we could have had 2 or 3 maybe. And we've kind of kept Burnley at bay really when in terms of when they get to the 18-yard box. We've defended really well. We've won the majority of this stuff in the air, aerially, and that's really Burnley's strength. So we can't do nothing but praise them really, but we just need to continue with that. We need that second goal. It's as simple as that. We need that second goal, because for me the second goal kills the game. Burnley's heads will drop and we could potentially go on and get another one. But if they get that goal, particularly early in the second half, our heads will drop and it could turn either way. But it's been a good start. It's been positive. I wanted to see an attacking-minded team. It's been better. I would still like to see certain transitions that were more attacking. So I've seen Hendricks get the ball on the wide right on a number of occasions and look to pass it backwards when he's got acres of space on that wing to really kind of drive at them and really try and get another ball into the box and to really put that Burnley defence under more pressure than we've put them under already. And it's the same on the left-hand side. St. Maximin's getting a lot of the ball, which is great, but he needs to utilise Jamal Lewis that is making that overlapping run now. I know that St. Maximin's probably not used to that with having done it at left-back, but Jamal Lewis will run and make that overlapping run all day long, and he's got good delivery. We need to utilise that as an attacking left-back. So I want to see more of that in the second half. And I would love to see Wilson get a goal. I think it would change his performance completely.
Lots of people who tune in just at half time just to hear our comments asking about Spenny. Yeah, Spenny's taken a sabbatical. He's had a little bit of trouble with trolls on Twitter. Nothing too serious, but enough to affect him mentally and wanting to come off. So, he said he will be back at some point, but now we need a sabbatical. We will pass on all your good wishes as well, Yes, Pete.
Sorry, can I just say, obviously, same as the lads that are on the stream at the moment, I didn't know Spenny until we started doing this, and obviously through the chats and the groups and whatever, he is just a genuinely nice guy. And actually, away from the football talk, learning a little bit more about him as a person outside of the footballing world, he's even more of an amazing guy. And we, not just we as Newcastle fans, but we as people need to remember that football is football, but there's another person there, outside of football, and the comments and the things that people say have a massive impact, not just on the supporter, but actually the person in the individual. Nobody should ever feel that they have to come off social media or literally take a sabbatical as he has. No person in the world should ever have to feel like that. Everybody should be included. Everyone should have an opinion and be given an opportunity. So it's really sad to see that obviously Spenny's in that position, and like all the boys have said, best wishes to him. Hope he comes back soon. We're the same fan base, and that's a frustrating thing. We all want the same thing. We want the best for Newcastle United, no matter where we are in the world. And people need to remember that everyone's allowed an opinion. Nobody has to agree with everyone's opinions, but they shouldn't get a lot of stick on the back of it. It's just crazy.
Yeah, here, lads. Good to hear you all giving Spenny the support. I am sure you will be back. Daz, prediction for the second half, then, please.
I'm going to stick with my 1-0, as I said from the start. I just hope we can hang on, because there's going to be an onslaught from Burnley. And yeah, I'd be delighted for us to score a few more, but it's going to be tight, and just hang on. It's going to be 1-0, I think. Stay as it is.
Okay,
and I just want for the players that we have on the pitch to no more injuries. I don't want to see Max getting injured or anything like that. Just even though we have an international break, our squad is trying to bear enough to see us through.
Okay, Martin.
Yeah, I think I can see us scoring again, to be honest. I think if we go out with the same effort, I think we can score again. I'm not sure. I think Daz is right. I think Burnley will come at us, but I think we'll have enough. I'd like to think we'll have enough to hold them off. So yeah, I think we can go on and win this. No reason why not.
Al-Walid, your prediction for the second half? More goals?
I believe so. I noticed there is weak side of Burnley. I hope we take advantage of that. If we maybe see Fraser later on.
Okay, Nathan, your prediction for the second half, please.
Yeah, I think we saw a lot of sort of frayed tempers especially towards the end of the game from that Burnley team. They were kind of kicking out at some of our players when we were running by them. So I think we should kind of double down on that. I'd get Almiron on, and I'd get testing these fullbacks and get some runners in behind, because it looks like there could be a few more yellow cards, and there'll be some sendings off in this game for Burnley, I feel like. So I think that'd be a good way to go about it for the second half. I reckon maybe another goal, I'd be happy just to settle things down, and then we can see how we consolidate from there.
Okay, Andre, your prediction for the second half?
I predicted Burnley will go down to 10 men, and then Almiron will take care of them. So I think Newcastle will win.
Okay, Dom, just quickly, as the Newcastle team comes out of the tunnel.
Yeah, I think the same as everyone else. I think it's going to be a tight game now. Dyche is going to set them up and say we need to be more compact. So I think it will finish 1-0.
Chris?
Yeah, I'm never comfortable with Newcastle having a 1-goal lead. A second goal would be huge, and I'd love to see Almiron come on, either for Hendrick or Shelvey, and inject some pace into this game. I think that with the poor weather and stuff like that, it's kind of a slog, and you need some. If they're looking for someone to change the game, that Almiron could provide some spark. And I'm worried about them targeting Sim-Maximin, and hopefully he can get through this unscathed, because it's just nasty how he's so targeted.
Pete, as the second half kicks off, your prediction for the second half, please. Pete, you've done a Spenny. You've done a Spenny. In tribute to Spenny.
I was about to say in tribute to Spenny. So I think we'll get the next goal. But I think Nathan said it earlier. Around 60 minutes, I'll be getting Almiron or Fraser on. 70 minutes, getting the other one on, and going at them with pace and really attacking them to try and get that second and third goal. They're here for the taking, and we need to put a statement out that we're an attack-minded team and we can score goals. So what a better opportunity.
Okay, great stuff, lads. Thanks for that. As Newcastle United kick off the second half at home to Burnley, 1-0 up. First minute played, ball is out of play at an empty St James's Park. It still always feels strange watching these games on television and commenting like this. This, as we know, is the new norm for now. And Hendrick and McNeil clashing just on the halfway line. And any changes, lads? I missed that because I was too busy listening to you and watching the comments. Any substitutions?
No, no changes.
Okay, it's Burnley with a free kick on the halfway line. Long one floated in. Newcastle deal with that comfortably. Clear the lines. Burnley win it back just outside the box. High feet.
And he missed.
Fernandez, okay though. Looked more serious than it was on television. Rob Fogan, he's just took a screenshot of his comment being shown and posted it on Facebook with the headline, "Look, Dad, I'm on the telly." Good stuff. Good stuff, Rob. Nice to know that we're making people's lives on a Saturday night instead of Britain's Got Talent.
I still do that and I'm on here.
Edward says, looking forward to you doing this live from St James's Park when fans can get back in, Steve. My God, imagine that. I mean, some of the states I get into before a game just to watch the game. It could be interesting, lads. I might have to pass that responsibility on to somebody else, I think. But you never know. Let's see. Let's see what happens as things continue in this mad world. I don't think we will be doing that for a very long time. I can't see us getting back into St James's Park, unfortunately, until next season. Tom Lynch says, despite everything that surrounds Newcastle, watching these home games that we can't go to is a knife through my heart. Yeah, I'm sure everybody would agree, mate. It's still rather strange going past the ground as I do on a regular basis, and very, very, very weird. Thanks for welcoming the chats. You're welcome, John. Thanks for your input. Thanks for your questions. Paul says this is way better than Britain's Got Talent. Thank you, Paul. I watched the Taxman on Atwood a couple of weeks back, and even he gets trolled. Proof there's a lot of folks with death wishes out there. Yeah, Brian Cockrell. Yes, he has had a few trolls as well, but I've just seen a few of his Facebook posts tonight, and he seems to be dealing with them rather well with his own documentaries. It seems hammering trolls. 48 minutes gone. Newcastle still 1-0 up. Will they manage to get another goal to make it a little bit easier to get through this game? There is some weird haircuts in this Newcastle team, lads. I've got to be perfectly honest. People wearing hairnets for no reasons. I keep looking at Lewis and thinking he's got like some kind of hat on because he shaved his head down. He shaved his head down the sides, and it looks. I mean, just looking at the screen there, it's like a Beefeater's hat, isn't it? Like
like a half one.
Aye, it's when it's at a distance. When you see it like that, when the camera closes in, it's a cracking afro. But when you look at it from a distance, it looks like he's wearing a hat. It's weird. I thought he had a hairnet on, but it's not. It's actually Shaw who has one on.
We've still got all better haircuts than all those man buns on Leeds, though. I don't know what's up with that squad. Like half of the squad.
Come on, lads, get it away.
Come on.
Burnley turning the pressure on here as I'm discussing haircuts, and it's cleared by Newcastle finally. It's out for a Burnley throw-in though. Darlow flapped a little bit there, I think. I think somebody got in his way. Might have been Fernandez.
Need to switch on for all of these set pieces because that's their biggest hope of getting back in this, I think.
I think the interesting thing was Sky put up the 2 touch maps. And Barnes has had a lot more touches than Woods. Woods has been playing very deep. So I think that's a credit to the defence that Woods is not getting too many touches in the final third and in the box.
Donald Bain says Lewis has got an action man cut. That's it. He's got the eagle eyes at the back, hasn't he? Do you remember them? Eagle eyes. Used to be able to move the eyes like that. Yeah, might be that.
It'll be interesting to see what the stats are and how many free kicks we're giving away 30, 40 yards out in our own area. Because that seems to be that all Burnley are playing for. Are those free kicks and hoping that they can get something into the box, and we can't play into their hands, particularly if it stays at 1-0 and the game's running on. That's what they're just going to throw all men forward, and it'd be such a shame to lose a goal from our own downfall. Really, I mean that Darlow take, there was no one there. It was a simple take, but what he's done is created panic within his own defence because he's not commanded that ball. And the question was asked earlier, would Dubravka come back in? Yes, and that's the type of reason why, because we haven't had a keeper for a long time that's been able to take the pressure off the defence and come out and really command his area the way that Dubravka does. And those kind of things make a hell of a lot of difference. So I'm hoping it's only that one mistake and that he's not very, very busy for the rest of the game, but this is why Dubravka is so big for us.
You talk about keepers there, Pete. Sorry. You talk about keepers there, Pete. Probably Krul in the early times would probably be the closest we could get to having a decent keeper. But then before it was probably Gibbon.
But Gibbon wasn't commanding of his area. Gibbon was a fantastic shot stopper.
Well done.
The same as Harper, the same as Darlow. They're all very good shot stoppers, but someone that's actually not just a shot stopper, but a commander of the area and dominates his area, comes in, collects the ball from corners, free kicks. Dubravka, we haven't had a goalkeeper like that. Dubravka is that guy. Krul is the second best, really, but even he wasn't as commanding. And that's what makes him so important to us, particularly because we're a team that does sit back and we do soak up pressure. He has to do that a lot more.
Go on, Joe. Go on, Joe, run the line.
Just as Pete was talking about Darlow there, Darlow did pull off a good save at his near post. It was a header from Wood. The ball then came up the other end. Newcastle are on the attack, but it's come to nothing as Shelby picks the ball up on the halfway line.
So you're right though with Dubravka, because like you see it a couple of times a game, don't you? With Dubravka, he'll pick up these knocks and he'll pick up knocks from the opposition forwards because he comes for every ball, doesn't he? And he gets there every time.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think the other thing with Dubravka as well is he distributes the ball really well.
Yeah,
he does. Yeah.
Mike Stewart says, love to see Joe Linton score, especially after the penalty miss. Geordie Jedi says, Carroll's debut was against Palermo. I think it was Carroll's as well. Carroll's debut, I believe, was Man United, because I actually got his shirt that game. It was number 39 that Andy Carroll made his debut in, and I think it was against Manchester United. But that wasn't long after that game. But the Palermo game for Carroll was absolutely fantastic. Absolutely superb game, that.
I think I was at that game.
Yeah.
I wouldn't play that.
Well defended again by Kraft. He took the ball off the feet of Wood. It's gone out for a corner to Burnley. Gerard says, want to say that loving watching these games with you guys. Nearest will get the proper home games on the terraces. Great crack from everyone in public chats. Much appreciated, lads and lasses. Thank you very much, Gerard. Very kind words.
Thank you.
Definitely.
Burnley are starting to play a lot better, or are we getting worse, says Dr. Rochter? I think Steve Hasty coined the phrase in the end of the first half, that they were getting more possession, and that didn't bode well for us, as Shaw is going off. That shoulder is still troubling him, and Manquillo is coming on just before Burnley take the corner. He's shaking his head, Shaw. He knows it's a repeat, I think, of his previous injuries. He's certainly done something to the old injury, I think.
This is a worry.
Yeah, that's a shame.
Yeah, Kraft moving to central defense now.
You can't but think that Kraft's going to struggle against the big two.
Yeah.
He's had a good game though, Kraft, as well before now, so it'd be a big test for him.
Big thanks to Steve Simpkin as well. This is better than the ones on the radio. Cheers, lads. It's nice to get positive feedback, guys. Thanks very much. Carl Darlow is the Newcastle GOAT. He puts 9.6 rating versus Tottenham. Question from Michael. Do you think Wilson, Hayden or Shelvey or Lascelles will get called up to the England squad? I think Wilson. No, I don't think any of those players will get called up. I know that Darlow has been watched. There was an interesting article in The Athletic to say that England have been watching Darlow as a potential keeper, Daz.
Yeah, no, well, he's done well. None of us expected him to do so well in the last number of games. And just back on the players you mentioned, the last tournament, I thought Shelvey should have gone. He was playing out of his skin in the season leading up to it. But no, I can't see any player from Newcastle getting called up to the English squad. Southgate doesn't look that far north.
Yeah, okay, I would agree with you there, although he was often in the stands when he first took the job. Martin, Darlow, good enough for England?
Well, I watched the Everton game earlier on today, and Pickford made yet another mistake for Brighton's first goal. So I think there's opportunity there. I don't think Pickford is going to be number one, permanent. He's making a lot of mistakes. So, yeah, I mean, look, Darlow's a good option. I mean, you look at the two or three that are there. There's obviously Pope from Burnley. There's the young lad, I forget his name now, the young lad that was from United. So I think there's definitely scope there to have an extra keeper or whatever, because definitely Pickford for me is not England's number one.
Yeah. Al-Walid, do you think Darlow is an international class keeper?
Yeah, he's a good candidate. Good candidate to be an English squad. England squad.
Big thanks to Ben for sending us an actual picture of Pickford. Nathan, Darlow, is Darlow a future England goalkeeper, do you think? A little bit early for that, or?
I'm not sure he's going to stake a claim for the number one jersey. I think with as far as Pickford is concerned, I think Pickford's been down and out on that penalty shootout for the last couple of years, hasn't he? And that's kept him in the team. Oh, here we go.
Go on.
Go on, Joe, lad.
Crossfield ball from Joe Linton, fires to Maximin on the left-hand side. He's got space to run into the defence. Takes it past one, takes it past two, goes down too easily, and there's nothing doing there in the penalty boxes. Burnley clear their lines up to Wood, who chests it down and rolls it back to the midfield player. And it's a missed chance that for Newcastle. Yeah, back to you, Nathan.
Yeah, I can't see. I think Pickford's on sort of borrowed time now. I can see Pope or Henderson sort of superseding him, really. I think it'd be a bit of a... Southgate likes to pick the same players the majority of the same players every time the selections come around. So I don't know. I can't see if Pickford will lose the number one. I can't see him falling too far down the pecking order. I can't see him falling out of the squad completely.
Well done, Darlow.
Yeah, I mean, this is a perfect chance for him to prove his worth, isn't it? And he carried himself really well last weekend. So yeah, why not? You never know what's going to happen. You never know what's around the corner. But I think there's a good few lads in front of him at this stage, like the lads I've mentioned, Pope and Henderson. And I don't think he'd like I said, I don't think he'd drop Pickford completely.
Burnley already turning the screws on our weekend centre-half position here, with Kraft having to move across into the centre and Manquillo coming on after Shaw went off. Darlow, good enough for England, Andre, do you think?
If Pickford can make it, then Darlow can make it. But, with goalkeepers, it's strange that, they can peak out at a later stage of their career. Let's not forget that Darlow is not a young guy anymore. I mean, he's turning 30 this year, or he's already turned 30. And he's having several good games so far. I would love if he's called to the England national squad. Actually, I think Andy Carroll is the last one to be selected as a Newcastle player in the England squad. I don't think Townsend was selected. And I think this was back in 2010. So it's almost 10 years since a Newcastle player was called for the England national squad. And honestly, I think Wilson stands the best chance out of them because Southgate selected him before. But let's see. It's going to be interesting if Darlow is called up to the squad and Dubravka comes back. Who do you pick? Do you pick the England national goalkeeper, or let's say one of the squad, or you bring back Dubravka? It's going to be interesting.
Dubravka, definitely.
Darlow's getting plenty of chance to prove his worth here as Burnley earn another corner. Darlow tips the ball over the bar. Burnley have now got a corner. We'll wait before we'll come to Dom, and we'll wait and see what the result of this is. Referees having a word with Wilson and Fernandez and Wood. Plenty jostling in the box between them and Barnes as well. Joe Linton stands in front of Darlow.
I'm not sure on Wilson marking Barnes. I think that's a mistake. Yeah.
Corner's floated in. Darlow comes out. He punches it. Gets a good clean punch on it. Burnley pick the ball up on the edge of the box. Another cross coming in here. Again, the Newcastle headwind. It's a goal. Burnley have scored. Westwood.
This is exactly what they wanted, the game to be scrappy like this. It plays into their hands completely.
Yeah, exactly.
And this is something we called with a substitution that was made. Unfortunately, Kraft going to the centre hasn't worked out. Burnley have been quick to spot the weakness. They've been floating long balls in. They've managed to get a corner. Darlow came out, got a good punch on it. There was a mistimed header from Hendrick. Fell to the Burnley player. There was a cross from the byline almost in. Newcastle cleared the header. Westwood finished with it. Was a fantastic finish when you look at it.
Yeah, that's a good hit.
What a finish it was. It was a header out. Westwood hit it first time, drilled it straight into the bottom corner along the wet St James's Park into the bottom corner. Newcastle United won, Burnley won, 61 minutes on the clock.
Yeah. Oh, dear.
I was going to say that.
Dom, to you first, mate. 1-1, disappointing, but we saw that coming.
Yeah, if you pummel our defence long enough, then it's going to be a problem. But if you've got to play in them terms, you can't just rest on your morals and hope for a 1-0 win. But that's something that could have been sorted. That's just something that could have been battered away, and I'm disappointed in that one.
Okay, Chris, it's we could see it coming.
Yeah.
Just asked the question: what did Steve Bruce say at half time? But it wasn't for me. It's not a Steve Bruce issue. This, I think, unfortunately, he doesn't have the defenders on the bench, and when he's lost Shaw, he's lost all idea of what he can do. Really, there's not a great deal he can do.
Yeah, like you said, I wouldn't put that on Darlow. On moving Kraft into an unnatural position and just left Darlow exposed. And I was going to say earlier to the goalkeeper discussion, there is a Pickford replacement on the pitch, but unfortunately for Darlow, it's Nick Pope. Yeah.
Yeah, Pete, Darlow wasn't to blame for that goal. There's nothing he could have done with that finish. We were talking about his potential of being an England keeper as the possession comes up. First half possession, Newcastle 64%, Burnley 36%. Second half possession, Newcastle 33%, Burnley 7%. That tells you the story. That tells you the story of this game, Pete, doesn't it?
LV?
So far.
Definitely tells us the story of the game. Like we-
Oh.
like we've all said. Hold on. Let's see
Keep it live. Keep it live.
1 second.
Ball drifted in there. There was nobody couldn't connect with it. Wilson couldn't connect. Joe Linton got the ball out on the left, but he gave the ball away cheaply. First mistake, really, that Joe Linton has made in the 63 minutes of the game as the ball's back on the halfway line. Back to you, Pete.
As I've said, this has been coming in the second half. The more the game was going to go on, the more that they were just going to lump the ball up and hope that something comes of it. Giving them far too many set pieces, far too many opportunities to get that ball and lump it into the box. And with losing Shaw and having to rejig the defence, it's made it worse because everybody's unsettled. I've got to be honest, I'm a little bit worried now. I think this is where we need to get Fraser or Amir on the pitch. We need to get them on the pitch and start pushing Burnley back again. Because Burnley still got gaps there. You know, the chance just a minute ago was the example.
Oh, Maxi, lad.
Yes!
Yes!
Get in there!
Steve, get that.
What a ball, lad.
Wilson goal.
That was great.
Oh,
Nice response.
I have them both in the fantasy.
Great ball in by St. Maximin. Wilson, like a poacher at the back stick, puts the ball in the back of the net. I might have got the match prediction wrong tonight, but I did say Wilson was going to get his third goal, and that was a poacher's finish. And that's why Wilson was bored. It was a great ball in by St. Maximin. Wilson ghosting in at the back post and did what he had to do. It was a Gary Lineker type finish at the back post, just a tap in, but they all count, and that was much needed to take the pressure off Newcastle, who had obviously conceded possession really to Burnley, and didn't see that coming, but we're very happy that it did. Happy days.
The last couple of minutes, like our reaction to going a goal down, normally we'd panic. But it was really nice to see that actually we went back up the other end and we started creating a couple of more chances. And that, you know, let's take the positives. It was a poor goal to concede, and we've allowed Burnley to get back into the game. But the mentality to then go up the other end and say, right, come on, let's go again. That's really, really positive to see. And you know, like you said, Steve, that's why we paid 20 million for Callum Wilson, because that is exactly what it gives you. It gives you that opportunity. If you put that ball into the box and play the right pass, he'll be on the end of it. But now we cannot sit back again. We've already been stung once. Luckily they didn't make anything of that. But we've already been stung once. We cannot afford to be stung again.
Burnley back up the other end. Burnley back up the other end. Wood had a header there, but it went over the bar. Dave Habery was making a point about the midfield. Yeah, you're right. I mean, obviously, it's all about opinions. I do feel the change in the back four didn't help. I think losing Shaw and having to move Kraft to the middle is always going to create sort of problems. But yeah, the midfield's got issues as well. Donald Baines is happy that he has Wilson in his fantasy team. Good end product from ASM tonight. Puts a smile on my face. A smashed pumpkin. John Davis is asking the score. 2-1 to Newcastle, mate. And 3 goals in 4 league matches for Wilson. Fantastic return so far. Let's just hope we can keep him fit. Owen Thompson says defence can't handle their strike force, too big and strong. So Burnley are about to make a change. Goodmanson's about to come on. Not sure who's going to go off, but 67 minutes played at St James's Park and Newcastle United are leading 2-1. As he says, we love our strikers and Wilson is a class act. Simon Davis says it's all ASM that with Wilson. We should take Joe Linton off now and put Almiron on the left. A lot of people want Almiron to come on, which I don't think you'll find anybody disagreeing on the panel. Paul Oxley says all the ones who doubted Wilson eating humble pie now. And we need to attack to take pressure off the defence, says Simon Davis. And Barry Hogan says they should have put Carroll on as a centre half. Not a bad shout, really, but they haven't. We've put Manquillo on and Crafts in.
Unforgivable, really, that we've got to this stage so early in the season with the window still open that we don't have a centre half on the bench, especially letting Lejeune go. I think we've mentioned a few times that we've seen him have a few good performances where he is out in Spain at the minute. So it's unforgivable that we are where we are without a recognised centre half on the bench.
Dale Stevens goes off for Johan Berg Gudmundsson to come on. Go on, Pete. What were you going to say?
I was just going to say Nathan's right, and the frustrating thing about it is that there's so many centre halves out there that are waiting to play that are not getting minutes. Tomori at Chelsea, for example, you got Smalling, Jones.
Come on.
Whether we want those players or not is another matter. But you've got genuine Premier League options to come in and boost the squad. So it's surprising that they've not acted already. This is the one summer, the one transfer window with everything with COVID, where there's actually so many talented players that are available on loans. Like, it's crazy how many are available, but we don't seem to be, or we're waiting till the last minute to kind of take advantage of that.
Yeah.
We've let two centre halves go out on loan. We let Kel Watts go, and we let Lejeune go, and that's where we're looking to strengthen now. Like, what having Watts on the bench now would have been better than this setup that we've got currently.
Lucky.
McNeil goes in the book for Burnley, and no need to tell you who he fouled if you're not watching the game. Yep, it was St. Maximin who was tearing the Burnley defence a new backside in this game. It has to be said.
Just on that point, guys, as well, that like if we had got over this game and Shar had got through, like we're due to have Clark, Dummett, and probably Lascelles back. So you could see they would try and gamble and getting through this game without an extra centre back. But I think we should have and could have brought someone in on loan before now.
We're going into the international break. We're going into the international break. We are going into the international break, of course, lads, which of course gives you that added time for people to recover from injuries. So you're right, Daz. You're right, 100%.
But if we're letting those two centre halves go, then let them go the day before the window shuts. The club will still be interested in them.
Yeah,
go on,
exactly.
Newcastle on the attack again. Wilson picking the ball up deep in his own half. Fouled on the semicircle by Bardsley again. Bardsley loves a foul, doesn't he?
Go on. Right,
long ball to St. Maximin. Out on the left-hand side, attacking the Gallagher end. Jinx past one, Jinx past two, Jinx past the same person again.
Have a shot.
Puts the ball back to Hayden. Straight into the goalkeeper's arms.
That one had to be falling for anyone but Hayden there, didn't it?
Yeah. Hayden can hit them from distance.
The ball is zipping and the grass is open, like, hit it.
Yeah. Agreed.
You're better to hit a daisy cutter on conditions like that and just keep it low.
Yeah.
Chances keeper spills it.
Big thanks to Kenneth Stark, who Kenneth Stark said, "This is easily the best football show on YouTube. Well done, Steve." Well, it's not just me. I'd be lost without the lads. To be fair, I'm just trying to hold it all together. The lads have got some great opinions. But thanks very much for that, Kenneth. And you're very opinionated, mate, and that's what we need. We need people like you. We would be nothing without the comments coming in from everybody, because a lot of the comments are a lot of the questions are the ones that we introduce to the panel. And we're learning as we go along, but we thoroughly enjoy it. So thanks, Kenneth.
Steve, I just wanted to say how great it was Mitchell's dad last night. George Mitchell, class guy, and the best of Newcastle.
Oh yes. Anybody who missed that show last night, the other night we did do a little trick on Neil Mitchell on the Three Amigos. We had his dad on. It was fantastic to have George Mitchell on. George's first game was at Newcastle United in 1947, so he has a vast amount of knowledge. He's watched a lot of games, and I'm pleased to say that he will be joining us next week on the Retro Show and future shows. So
ASM is done. ASM's done. He's off.
Yeah, Fraser.
What is it his ankle or is it his hamstring?
Yeah. I'm not sure, Pete. It could be hamstring. He was holding the back of the leg there when he first walked. It doesn't look like the ankle. The
good news is he's walking off. He's walking off, and it looks as if he's tight. It's a tightening of the hamstring. He's walking with that right leg strained. He's grimacing as he walks into the tunnel, gone straight down the tunnel for some medical treatment. So Ryan Fraser's on, straight swap. Looking forward to seeing Fraser again. You know, he's a good player. Sky have said cramp, apparently, according to Sean.
Fair enough. We'll take that.
I'll take that. I'll take that all day long.
I think the international break is coming probably just at the right time for us as well.
Yeah,
just with
I think so too.
The couple of strains and everything else.
Are we looking at Dubravka back after that break? Is that what they're thinking? Or is that too soon?
Possibly, yeah. Possibly.
Well, I hope so. There was talk a couple of weeks ago that they were confident that he might be back earlier than the 8 weeks that they suggested. So that would make it the case. So fingers crossed.
So,
by the way, I watched the show yesterday. It was really good and so educational.
Oh, this could be something. Yeah, this could be.
Oh, I'll tell you what, Barnes. This is the second time I said this before. He kicked the back before. He studs up here now. That's shocking.
We've seen those looks.
Yeah, what are you doing? Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Oh,
that's crazy.
That's a red.
There.
Have they not looked at that?
It should
Why is the VAR not picked that up?
How is that not a foul?
It was the one the other week where the guy kicked up and got sent off. I can't remember. It was like last week, weekend before.
Son. I was going to say last season, Son got sent off.
Yeah,
Son got sent off. Yeah, and then as he was going off, was it not him and Lloris argued?
Yeah.
No, different game.
Different game.
I think it was against Chelsea. Son got sent off for that.
Was that the cup game, was it?
No, it was last season. I think he got sent off for it last season, Son.
Come on, grab all of it.
James Dean asking, is it possible to recall Lejeune? I think it's a season-long loan, mate, so I don't think so. Not 100% sure, though. If anybody does know, speak now or forever hold your peace.
I think so. You're right, Steve.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
The rain comes down at St James's Park again as Newcastle lead 2-1. 75 minutes on the clock, 15 minutes to go plus stoppages. ASM off. The goal scorer in the first half.
Penalty, though. Surely. Penalty. Yeah.
Penalty.
It's a penalty to Newcastle.
Wilson again.
So he hit the post as well.
What the hell?
Chris's prediction for England goalkeeper isn't looking too good now. That was a bad mistake. Bad mistake by Pope.
A few times, but then he did it straight away at the beginning.
Come on, Wilson.
Pope completely ballsed up there. He tried to take a touch on his foot. It hit his shin pad. It bounced away. Fraser came in.
Wilson, take it. Wilson, Darby. Yeah, Wilson,
Come on, son.
Pope needs to say through a few Hail Marys and then save this penalty to get back in Chris's England reckoning.
I'm going back to Henderson now. Henderson for England.
Chris has jinxed them.
Here we go.
For England.
Come on.
It's a penalty. Wilson steps up at the Gallagher end.
Boys moment right now.
Lovely finish.
I love
Lovely
it.
finish.
That's my favorite. Yeah.
Get the clappers going.
Class.
Get the clappers going.
Oh.
Wilson's little salute and kisses the camera as he makes it 3-1. And
That's a nice
straight,
penalty.
in the words of Frank Sinatra, it was straight down the middle.
Nathan, are you texting your mates?
Yeah, they're loving it. I'm getting loads of shit.
So can Wilson break Andy Cole's record?
If Burnley wasn't in lockdown already, it will be now, Nathan, especially around your house.
I know, yeah. Nobody speaks to me for a week whenever we beat Burnley.
I'd say if we score a few more, Nathan won't be in lockdown. I think someone will be around his house to burn it down.
Nathan, I was going to say, it should be the other way around. You should be giving them all the stick. Not you.
Oh, yeah, I do, yeah. But they get fed up with me. They get fed up with me talking about Newcastle and one thing and another. So, yeah. But half of them, you know, like half of my mates and stuff, like when I was younger, I used to get loads of shit because everyone around here used to support Man United. Because when Burnley were in like League Division 2 and Division 1. But then like since they've been in the Premiership, everyone supports them now. you'll notice. So
Newcastle United 3, Burnley 1, 78
Oh.
minutes played.
I had
Ashley Barnes has gone off as well.
Oh yeah.
Barnes has been substituted.
What is it? It's ridiculous. They're targeting.
Surely,
If it stays like this, shout out to Stuart. I think he had 3-1. He says 3-1 for every game, but I think
He does, yeah.
3-1.
He's going to get lucky some point during the season.
Oh.
Oof.
Yeah, Wood took Kraft down. Is it just me, or does Kraft look like a skinnier version of Richie?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I hope
Like
Stuart's
that-
got his hat on.
It's that new haircut.
like a placid Richie.
See, we're back
Guys,
to haircuts again. We're back to haircuts again. It's a haircut that's made him look. Steve Bruce's haircut's fantastic, isn't it?
He needs to put his foot on. What is he doing?
I think he's rock hard, isn't he? Because he's got his hood down and it's raining and his hair's wet. That's what it is. Go on, Pete.
I was going to say if we had any questions as to why Emil Kraft has played today ahead of Manquillo, that's exactly why. Because aerially, I think Kraft has been very good, and he's handled a lot of the aerial press that Burnley have given. And I think that's we questioned why he was starting, and I think most fans were very confused. That's a great ball. Very unlucky that.
That was class from Joe Linton there. It's so good.
Yeah, very good.
But 6 weeks ago, who thought we'd be sitting there saying that?
But yeah,
that was
just
a great
going back
ball.
to the point about Kraft. That was it. That's why he's playing, and he's actually played quite well today. So fair play to him.
Fantastic! That great little bit of play from Joe Linton, and then from Fraser, who takes a short corner to Shelby. Fraser tries to whip the ball in. The Burnley defender gets in the road, and it's throw in. I think to Newcastle. 3-1 now.
I thought it was a corner.
Throw, I think.
Corner, man. Yeah.
If we got off covering Sean Dyche's head, we'd be able to tell. Yeah, it's a throw in.
Is Gareth Bale in the stand?
Manquillo with the throw in, wearing some rather fetching gloves.
Oh God!
Oh, that was nasty. That looked nasty.
Manquillo's down.
Sounds Joe Linton now.
Guys, he's not holding his shoulder, is he?
No, it looked like he's holding the crown jewels.
What the hell? How did Burnley guys?
Got the Queen on it.
A lot of people asking about Joe Linton. John Gandhi's asking if the Morecambe game could be the turning point for Joe Linton. There's certainly a change in his attitude. There's definitely a change in his attitude, Daz, isn't there? There's a different player. Player. Not getting carried away, but there's definitely a different player. My
theory is that you gave him 10 games and he started to perform as the games progressed. I've given Shelby a chance today and he's picked up in the first game. So if we each pick one player, who knows where we could end up?
Yeah, Angaya, thanks for your positive comment there. Imagine being a Newcastle fan, people here talking Steve Bruce. It's like he's the upcoming Sir Bobby Robson. You're going to flop this season, and Newcastle fans will say bye to all their best players. Thanks, Angaya. Obviously, somebody with a crystal ball in the house. Always has faith in Bruce's tactics, says Mike. Newcastle pushing again for a fourth goal. Is ASM one of the Premiership's most exciting players now, George? Yes, I think he
was
is.
last year, yeah.
Maria feels that Burnley could be going into the Championship. Don't write Burnley off too soon. Sean Dyche is a master technician, and he can always get the best out of his team towards the back end of the season. Of course, we saw this with Sunderland, constantly fighting relegation and getting away, but you never know. You never know.
I think that Angaya in the chat is maybe one of my mates.
Is it?
No, it's not really, but it wouldn't surprise me.
Could well be. Could well be. We've got about 8 minutes left plus stoppage time. Newcastle United 3, Burnley 1. Angaya is working for Masters, says Trolls. John definitely thinks that confidence definitely grew after the Morecambe game by Joe Linton. I reckon that long-range goal gave him a big boost. Angaya just says, it's just a joke, Geordies. Lol. Thank you, Angaya. Great sense of humour.
It's called Jordan.
I'm not getting into a spelling argument because we can all make mistakes. A cat only has 9 lives, so they say. How many has Dyche got left?
Joe there, class.
Yeah, you're right. We do not speak of masters in here, says Jack. Joel's attitude has definitely changed this season. I hope he keeps it up. Kenneth Stark says Newport told Steve Bruce how to beat Burnley, score a few goals. Henry has had a noticeably quiet game. Joel Linton does look less shaky when he's on the ball, says the NUFC 3920. And John Davies says, should we settle for 3-1 or push for the 4th? Look, let's just sit on what we've got now, I would say. 3-1, points are in the bag. Going into the international break, I wouldn't push on for the 4th. James says, can we say hi to Grandad Benji? He cancelled Sky when the takeover fell through and he's been watching your show ever since. Oh, thank you. Grandad Benji. I hope you're well, mate. Keep a hold and thank you for your support, mate. And I hope we're doing you a good service. Al-Walid, are you going to say hello from Saudi to Benji?
Ahlan wa sahlan.
Yeah, ahlan wa sahlan.
Good stuff. Hope it's not all down to the fact that you can only beat teams wearing claret and blue, says Steve Hasty.
Hasty with the comment.
Oh,
Get it out of here.
That's it. Go on.
Newcastle
Must go wide, Fraser.
Come on, Keo, go on.
Newcastle on the attack again.
Oh,
Joe Linton at the heart of the attack. And God, I never thought I'd say that, honestly. Coming out with all of these superlatives.
Yeah, difficult.
Should give it a wide to Fraser there.
Leeds in the
Just checking the Premiership table as we speak, lads. And Newcastle United are in 6th place at the moment. If the result stays like this, level on points with Leeds, who everybody thinks has had a great start of the season.
Exactly, and also as well as that, Steve, a few points ahead of Brighton, who a lot of the media were jumping on when they beat us, being this fantastic, amazing, plucky side. But yeah, have gone three games where they've lost in a row. So, you know, it all evens out.
And of course, Man City currently in 11th on 4 points. Have a game in hand, of course, against Newcastle, but that would still only take them on to 6 points. Newcastle currently on 7. Got to enjoy this. Got to enjoy this while we can.
Bruce kicked off or something.
Barry Hogan is saying, can I give Shelby a 10-game target to improve his work wonders? Because it worked wonders with Big Joe. I will do, yes. John Gandy's getting a bit too carried away. Europa League, here we come. Thursday nights won't be the same again. NUFC makes a good point. To be fair, Leeds have played Liverpool and Man City, of course. Yeah, you're right there.
Oh,
nice.
Newcastle. Right idea.
So Newcastle pushing on again. The ball in the Burnley half, and Newcastle quite happy with their day's work, it has to be said. And Steve Bruce, I am sure, will have a very smug look on his face when he has his after-match conference tonight.
God, I can't wait.
Thing is, in his mind, he's proved everyone wrong now, hasn't he? He's back on his perch now.
Against the team that's not even picked up a point yet.
He's going to say that he lit a fire under the lads, but I think their fire is enough. They don't need him to motivate.
Andre gets us all back down to earth in the chat by saying that we're actually 7 points clear of relegation. That's probably the better way of looking at it, Andre.
Very true.
Yeah, one more goal and we go above Leeds in the table. But very good game. Actually, I'm impressed by Joelinton in the past 2-3 minutes. Like he delivered some good passes.
Now, give it him.
Oh, terrible ball. Really poor.
Go on, Andre.
Yeah, I was saying that Joelinton has had in the past 2-3 minutes. He's had some good balls, and all we know it's he's having a good game. And we shouldn't judge him as a center forward, but as the role he plays today, he's a very useful player to have in the team.
Yeah, very useful player. Daz, a question that was on the screen there about Joe Linton. You know, just your view on Joe Linton, how he's played tonight.
Oh, I've been delighted with him. Absolutely delighted with him. There's a few of them I've been happy with now tonight, and I include Shelby in that. So yeah, no, long may he keep improving, and he still can't see him getting a goal anytime soon. But if he keeps putting in the performance he's doing, and all we ask for him is to try, and he's doing that, you know. So, and he's giving it everything. He's still running here tonight, like it's 88 minutes, and he's still running. So I'm happy with him.
Okay, Martin, your view on Joe Linton tonight?
Yeah, I think he's been good. I said midweek, I thought he played well in the cup game. I thought he's done well, and I think he's played really well. Like Daz, I think delighted for the lad.
Okay, Al-Walid, Joe Linton played well tonight.
Yeah, I am lately happy with him. He and most of the team, they are becoming. The chemistry between the players increase, and this is reflect on the performance last 2 games.
Nathan?
Yeah, I think I've been massively impressed with him. He's not a centre forward. He's not necessarily a wide player, although he played there for half an hour. But he's been asked to play in a sort of all new position. He played behind Wilson in that number 10 role, and he's been fantastic. He's held the ball up really well, made some really intelligent passes. I think due to the nature of his start for us, there's going to be fans and there's people who make comments about, if he doesn't do the best with a chance or something, they'll be on his back, and saying, "Oh, it's Joe Linton, he's Brazilian, this, that, and the other." But for me, he's been fantastic, and he showed tonight that he wants to get into those positions, and he's showing that work rate, and that's all we've asked. We've asked for all last season and all the games that we've done here this season. We've asked for that work rate, and we've got it tonight off him. We've got it in the past few games off him, and lo and behold, people appreciate that performance. So yeah, really good for me. Really pleased with him.
Okay, coming into the final minute, we're just waiting on the stoppages. Andre, a quick one on Joe Linton. You've been happy with his performance tonight?
Yeah, very much. And I think that Wilson did miracles for Joe Linton, because having Wilson beside him, actually in his head now he knows that there's a guy who can score the goals. The pressure and the spotlight is not on him, and he basically goes about his business, pressing, delivering passes. And I think that basically he'll be competing with Almiron for a starting place. It will be either him or Almiron to play just off the main center forward. And so this game he's been pretty solid. He's never going to be a goal scorer, as we've said 100 times, and we shouldn't judge him as a center forward because he's not a center forward.
4 minutes injury time left at St James's Park. Newcastle United 3, Burnley 1. Dom, your views on Joe Linton tonight?
Well, I've said earlier on another show, I put up the comment of Joe Linton couldn't hit a cow's arse with a banjo, but that's not the way he should be played. He's done well playing without the pressure of scoring goals. He's played well out wide, making goals, bringing the team forward. So there's not a lot you can say about him, really. He's a player of his own ilk, really.
Okay, that's an interesting way of putting it. Chris, Joe Linton has improved for me. Your take on him tonight?
Yeah, I was someone who wasn't ready to write him off after one season. Some players take more than one season to really adjust to the Premier League. I think he's been helped immensely, as Andre said, by not being the lone man up front with his back to the goal. To have somebody like Wilson there to take the pressure off of him, and then he's also a kind of a confidence player, getting a few goals under his belt, even though it's division, that's League 2 and the Cup does some builds up his confidence a little bit, and I'm not going to say he's going to be a world beater, but he could be a serviceable player for us if he played more not as a lone striker, but more off the ball, behind the striker, and a more of a holding attack.
2 minutes ago, Joe Linton is substituted for Sean Longstaff. Barely worth him coming on really to get his shirt and hair wet, but there you go, Pete. Last comment on Joe Linton from you before we start talking about man of the match.
Yeah, I think he's played well tonight. I think he's had a good game. The fact that he's hold on,
Fraser.
Newcastle go close again. Longstaff with a long range shot after good work from Fraser. Go on, Pete.
Yeah, like I say, I think he's played well tonight. I think, as one or two have said, the pressure of him not playing as a single man, the lone striker up front, has been the sort of the making of him, really. What I really liked is actually a lot of his good play is him facing the opposition goal and running with the ball or making those runs forward rather than just being that back to goal all the time, because he clearly struggles with playing that way. So seeing him in his natural sort of environment, in running at defenders and in creating space, is been positive to see. You know, as one or two have already said, you know, we want him to be in goal scoring positions because he's a forward player, but ultimately we just wanted him to be working and pressing and trying hard. And when Nathan was talking a minute ago, the intensity at that point in time that he was still giving at 89 minutes is fantastic to see. So, well, we are really pleased.
Full time at St James's Park. Newcastle United win the match 3-1 against Burnley. That takes us into sixth place. Big shout out to Rita tonight, who was a first time watcher. Cut Nuts Mum, he says he put her onto the show. So big thank you to you, Rita, for watching. We hope you were suitably entertained and enjoyed it, and of course you'll be very happy with the result, as long as you're not a Burnley fan, of course. Okay, Daz, let's go for your summing up of the game and man of the match, please.
Summing up of the game, delighted. Like it could have gone either way. I think, as Pete was indicating at the start. We had so much negativity as well leading up to the start of the game. I thought I was even going to change my prediction, but no, delighted with that. We go into the international break now with 7 points and currently sitting in sixth spot. It's a good base for us to build on after that. We were 33 points from safety, and that'll keep the man that likes to do this happy as well. So yeah, and man of the match for me, St. Max. I agree with the what Sky selected. He was the difference. That was the spark. He got constantly fouled and just got up and got on with it as well. Hopefully his injury isn't too bad, and we need him back because he's the one that kind of drives us on. But yeah, right across the pitch there was some great performances. Joe Linton and even Shelby. I know I slated him, but I gave him a clean slate to build on, and he's done it today. Hopefully it continues as the games go forward. But happy weekend.
If you enjoyed the show, guys, please give it a like and please subscribe to the channel. If you're feeling generous, please join and make a small donation. Darren Baldwin Funerals, big thanks to you for sponsoring the show. qtechshop.co.uk, maker of snooker tables and pool tables, also sponsors, and big thanks to them. iTunes and Spotify, if you can listen to our other shows on there for free if you haven't got time to sit and watch the YouTube programs as well. Martin, your take on today's game and your man of the match.
Yeah, good performance all around. I agree with Daz. I think we were all fairly hesitant to begin with, apart from, I think, Stu Penman, who said 3-1. But I think we were all fairly negative to begin with. But I thought there was some good performances across the park. I thought Kraft played well when he was moved across. Obviously, Shah's injury, or if it is as bad, is a bit of a blow. But I thought it was good. I thought Joe Linton was good again. Shelby upped his game and played the captain's role. Did well. Defensively, I don't think Burnley troubled us. Okay, the goal, but I don't think, we weren't talking about Wood or Barnes or any of those, which we had spoken about pre-game. So I think it was a good performance across the pitch. We went out second half and continued that, which I think was pleasing. And I again agree with Sky and Daz, man of the match, ASM without a doubt. A goal and assist got us going, and then a cracking ball in for Wilson's first. hard to pick out. Other than that, I thought again Joe Linton for me stood out, and Kraft at the back moving in. I thought were probably the three key players for me tonight. Vidia had a good game at the back as well. So, yep, good match.
Al-Walid, your view on the game and your man of the match, please.
It's easy to say Saint-Maximin, but I would go with the teamwork. The whole players were good. I want to congratulate Spinny Mag with his dance. and I wish if he end his sabbatical soon. And I'm looking for a guest for my next show, and I hope it's gonna be Spinny Mag if he finish his sabbatical. And I hope, and it's easy. Just block. I have like more than 20 people. I block them. Just use of a blocking choice for any someone annoying.
Good stuff. Okay, Nathan, man of the match for you and your view on tonight's game.
Yeah, we talked in the game midweek and previous weeks, really, didn't we? That we could only really pick out like one or two players that actually sort of earned the shirt on the nights. And tonight, it's hard to say that any of them had a bad game. I thought they were all great in their own roles and their own responsibilities this evening. I felt that Saint-Maximin caused them all sorts of problems, didn't they? They didn't have an answer to him other than to kick him out of the game, which sort of took its toll over the course of the game. But he was still a threat right up until he came off. So yeah, I thought Saint-Maximin for me would be the man of the match. Joe Linton was really good. I thought he held up the ball well at times and manoeuvred out of some tight spaces and picked a good pass. And that's all you can ask for. Like that kept the player moving. It kept us moving forward, and we didn't look as static as we looked in recent weeks. I think an honourable mention would be for Fernandez tonight. I thought he was a beast tonight. I thought he played really well. Got really stuck in, and he didn't look phased at all by Wood and Barnes, and a lot of more accomplished defenders than him struggle against those two on some weeks in the Premier League. So yeah, I thought he was fantastic as well.
Okay, Andre, your man of the match and your performance review tonight, please.
Great win. Actually, I'm happy I called the correct result. I said 3-1 before the game and sent Maximin to be the star of the show, and it turned out to be like this. I'll send the YouTube video to my mates to show them. But definitely Saint-Maximin had a great game, and he was due to have a good game after a couple of poor performances. I'm also very happy for Wilson. He already has 4 goals. He scored 8 in last season for Bournemouth for the total year. So very, very promising start by both of them, and definitely Saint-Maximin man of the match, and 6 after 4 games. I never doubted Steve Bruce,
Good stuff, Dom. Your man of the match, please, and your review of tonight's game.
My review is, I said 1-0. It was a hard-fought battle all the way through. But this is against a team who's not picked up any points yet. So the 3 points should have been on the board anyway. Man of the match, I think they all deserve some credit by the way they played. If I had to pick someone, I can't pick up anyone. I think they all did well, and they all deserve credit for the win. But if I had to pick anyone, Saint-Maximin for the first goal. So I don't know.
Okay, great figures for Saint-Maximin tonight. 1 goal, 1 assist. He was fouled. It said 5 times. I presume it was a lot more than that. 5 times every 10 minutes, I would have said it would seem. But look, I thought Saint-Maximin got man of the match for me. Chris, your view?
Yeah, clearly ASM man of the match. They're just a different squad with him on the pitch. He draws so much of the focus, both good and bad, and he really opens up the field, gives Callum Wilson some space, so solid effort all around. Definitely showing improvement from Joe Linton. I was a little surprised that Almiron's not on the pitch even as a sub. Sort of I predicted 2-1. didn't think 3 goals on anything if it's a penalty. But yeah, solid effort all around and good effort. And I'm curious to see how they play against the top 6. Manchester United will be a tough matchup, but we'll see how they go.
It will be. International break to come though. First, Pete, we'll leave the final word to you tonight. Man of the match and your review of tonight's 3-1 win against Burnley in the Premier League.
Man of the match is quite straightforward for me. A goal and assist, Alan St-Maximin, showing what he's capable of again, which is being a match winner, being the difference, and he certainly was tonight. So no question, St-Maximin. Really good performance overall. You know, like I talked about it earlier, the mentality of hitting back once we conceded the goal, I think was really telling, and I think that was the turning point in the game. And I think after that point, we didn't look back. So it was really, really good to see that performance. The spine of the team really stood out for me. So you're going right at the top with Callum Wilson. You know, it's so pleasing to see your main man up top scoring goals. There's no better feeling than seeing that. So for him getting a couple of goals today is great. And actually, he's only 2 goals behind last season's top scorer, which says everything you need to know, really. But you know, he should be looking at double figures, and I know he'll want double figures. And you know, the way he started, he should get that. I thought Hayden played very well. He did a lot of the stuff that people wouldn't have necessarily saw. A lot of grafting, a lot of the doubling up that made the difference in defensive transitions. Then you've got, I mean, Nathan said about honourable mention for Fernandes, and I would agree with that. But I would also say Kraft. I thought Kraft played really well tonight. I know we all questioned him with regards to, you know, why is he starting? Why is Manquillo on the bench? But actually, he's justified his start. And I think he looked good on the right-hand side. He came into the centre, and he held himself up against 2 very, very physical, dominant forwards who tend to get the better of most teams in the Premier League. So you know what, fair play to him. And then the final mention for me is Carl Darlow. He had 1 drop early in the second half, but other than that, I thought he commanded his area really well. Nothing you could do about the goal. It was a great strike, but everything else I thought he dealt with very, very well. So I'm kind of getting a little bit dizzy right now. It's twice now I've said positive things about Darlow. I'm feeling a bit fuzzy, but you know what? I love it when players that I question prove me wrong, and fair play to him. Very good performance again.
Yeah, good stuff. I mean, in Alisson Maximin, man of the match for me. A close second, I would say, would be Kraft. You know, had a lot of criticism from fans, and you know, not my favourite player, it's got to be said, but yeah, did very well tonight. And even when he was moved out of position, he came good. Newcastle getting that second goal was a key, but great performance, good win, and you know, a great night for us to spend talking about it. Just a few shout outs tonight, again as usual. Darren Baldwin Funerals. Local independent family business, 24-hour service. There's the phone number there. Big thanks to them for sponsoring the show, and to qtechshop.co.uk. Big thanks to them as well for sponsoring the show. Tomorrow night I will be back at 6 o'clock for an evening of chat with MP Ian Mearns, 6 till 7, getting his take on today's game and the last 7 days at Newcastle United. And big shout out to everybody for watching. Please just hit the little thumb. That's all it takes. Nearly 190 people already done that tonight. If you can do that, please do. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, if you're new to the channel, subscribe to it. You will get notifications of when we're on. And a big thanks to all the fans for chipping in on the live chat. So Daz, Nathan, Pete, Al-Walid, Andre, Dom, and Chris, thanks for tonight. Pete, I will give the last word to you every now and then. I'll give you a chance to give your channel a shout out, so go for it, mate, before we finish off.
Yeah, Geordie's down south. In fact, I'm going to be jumping on there in a second with the boys, Clinton and Fumby. So yeah, go on to YouTube, Geordie's down south, and I'll be talking about the game with the lads. Like I say, just a group of lads that have got together just by chance, really, that do what we're doing here, just talking about Newcastle United because I love the club. So if you ever want to listen, please jump on and listen and ask some questions.
Great stuff. Thanks a lot, lads. Take care. Enjoy the international break, and I will see you all soon. Take care, lads. Bye-bye.
Take care,
everyone.
Bye bye.
Take care.
Just,